I'm really excited that we've announced the 4 NASCAR National Series for our game. For the first time ever, we're going to feature the ARCA Menards Racing Series and the entry point for the career mode. Featuring all 4 series allow us to give the player a complete experience that somebody might make to become a champion.
So why having ARCA trucks, Xfinity and Cup is so important, especially from a design perspective, is we finally get to do what is a realistic career mode that somebody would actually follow in real life. Think about the drivers who started in ARCA, cut their teeth in ARCA, went then to trucks, got noticed, got to Xfinity, and finally made their mark in Cup.
So yeah, Todd and I spent a lot of time just talking about the feeling of what it would be like if you were a young kid and you're starting your grandpa's shop, and his shop was this like dirty old gas station, and he just kind of said, hey, you can use my shop, there's the tools, have at it. And then through that, you started to realize that you actually had some talent. And you worked your way up, and you went from the shop to there was a pole barn or a metal building that's also on the property, and that's where you run your truck team. And then you start to get more sponsors, and you start to have more success. So then you move up to the Xfinity Series, and then at that point you can build your own shop. And you get more success there, and it just keeps steamrolling. And then all of a sudden you get to the point where you're in the Cup Series. And that's where we built the Taj Mahal of race shops.
In the career mode, you'll be tasked with making decisions on how to spend your time. And it's not all about just what you do on the racetrack. You're going to have to do things to build your reputation. And that might be charitable work or a movie opportunity. There's going to be things that your sponsors ask you to do. And you'll have to balance between building your reputation and your brand and being successful on the racetrack.
Having access to Dale Jr. has been amazing. We've never had the ability to work with a driver at this level before, and not just somebody who just comes in and plays the game and says, that's good. He's actually actively involved in helping design the game.
Designing out the career mode was a Herculean effort because you want to make sure that you have all the right details in there about what makes a NASCAR career really authentic. But at the same time, you don't want to make everybody have to go through all the minutia of managing a race team and the finances and the employees. So really, it's a nice balance, and I think we've pulled this off really well in NASCAR 25, where if you want to just concentrate as being a driver, you can do that while mildly being involved in some of the decision making. But if you want to go in there and manage every last little detail, you're going to be able to do that as well.
I feel like it gives them more of a perspective of how it actually works, right? Coming up through the ranks, deciding how to upgrade your vehicle, right? Those are decisions that you've got to make in real life. Do you want to buy a new set of shocks? I only have this allocated amount of money, right? Do I buy a new set of shocks? Do I, rebuild my engine? Do I buy a new set of tires? And those are the decisions that, like I said, I've had to make in my career, and to be able to correlate, that story and create, sort of your own blueprint in your career, I think is a neat aspect of the game.
One of the cool things about finishing a race in this game is going to be how your performance has resonated within the social media world. So it's not just going to be drivers who might be commenting on how you performed during the race on social media, but some of the most popular NASCAR social media influencers will be chiming in as well. Part of this game being all about the driver's perspective is the interaction that drivers have between themselves and their crew chief and their spotter. So that's something that we're really focusing on while you're in the car, while you're driving, while you're in the menus, making it feel less like a UI screen and more like an interaction between you and them.
So we've really put together the most amazing team that I can think of to build a NASCAR game. We've got decades of experience across many of us, across every platform imaginable. We've got laser scanned assets. We've got amazing driving physics. We've got literally a company that has been built on the foundation of being authentic and true to the sport. And you add all those things together, and it's really this recipe to make the best NASCAR experience possible.
For more information about the game, visit NASCAR25.com, where you can sign up for email updates and view more content, and be sure to follow us on social media at NASCAR25Game.
Tonight, on Countdown to Green, we revisit the segment-ending highlights from The Rock. Channel 199's Travis Pastrana stops by for a chat. And Logitech Show Us Your Rig segment. All that and more coming up on Countdown to Green.
Good evening, race fans, and welcome to iRacing Countdown to Green, presented by eNASCAR for tonight's festivities in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series from Talladega. I'm James Spike alongside Alan Cavada and Ryan Vargas. First and foremost, a shout out to our regular host, Camille Salazar-Hadaway, who's off and away this week, but we'll have her back soon. So I am standing in and get ready for the biggest, the baddest, the fastest track of them all, right? It is Talladega Superspeedway.
No, it's great to have you here, James. Maybe you'll be able to hold a candle to Camille, but regardless, we're going to have a fun night here at Talladega. I love me some super speedway racing. There is nothing that prepares you for Talladega. It's all out on the line, and it is always incredibly unpredictable.
100%, Ryan. I love this stretch of the schedule. We just went to Rockingham. Now we're at Talladega. It could provide one of those surprise winners, but it takes a tremendous amount of skill. Maybe a little luck, but a lot of skill to be at the front end of this field. At the end of this race, Talladega eats them up quick. I love this race.
It's going to be a fun race, no doubt. But before we start even talking about Talladega, we've had so much happen in the world of eNASCAR. And we had some happen in the real world, too. How about Garrett Lowe racing for BS Plus competition in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, also racing for them in the NASCAR Euro Series, went over to the Circuit Ricardo Tormo outside of Valencia in Spain and picked up 2 top 10s in his first race weekend. Not bad work, Ryan.
No, not at all. Garrett Lowe with, as you mentioned, BS Plus competition, but also with the Remotion team over there. I know those guys really well. They do a fantastic job. And Garrett Lowe, I mean, running up front, I mean, you look at the guy he's right behind there, battling for position. That's Liam Hesmans. That dude wins consistently. He battled with Vittorio Gorelli, Paul Jouffreau, all those guys out there that continuously run at the front. And Garrett Lowe hounded them. So, honestly, that performance really showed a lot of his potential, how the sim to reality transition can really pay dividends, Alan.
That's awesome. The sim to reality story is why we're here, to see the success in eNASCAR and then get out there on the real world tracks and have success, and to open up and make your debut with 2 top 10s. Unbelievable. Kudos to Garrett Lowe. It looks like he even became a little broadcaster. So he had so many jobs over in Europe. He's going to take all of our jobs, guys.
And he's also going to race the rest of the campaign in the Euro Series. You can watch their races on the Euro NASCAR YouTube channel at youtube.com/@Euro NASCAR. So we're going to see a lot of Garrett Lowe, both in the sim and in real life. But in the world of eNASCAR, it was a big night last Tuesday night. The championship race for the eNASCAR College iRacing Series. The top 25 drivers throughout the entire campaign made it. And at the end, Logan Clampett and Steven Wilson battled for the title. And it was the Cal State Fullerton Titan, Logan Clampett, picking up his first eNASCAR College iRacing Series championship.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And you saw right there, it was an elbows out, absolute brawl to get this championship. And Logan Clampett, we talked about him battling Steven Wilson there. You see it right there, feeds him the right recorder panel. And, I mean, at the end of the day, these guys were fighting for $13,000 plus of tuition money. So that was a lot of help for a guy like Logan Clampett. It's cool to see a Cal State Fullerton kid kind of make his name further up. I know he's won the series in the past. He gets the second College Series championship here. So obviously, big performance there for Logan Clampett. And you see it there, sending it hard into the inside, real tight racing. Pike, I mean, you were watching this race live. Absolute banger.
Called this race live, and I think fitting in a big sense that now the 2 winningest drivers in the history of this end up with championships, one apiece for Wilson and for Logan Clampett. We also wrapped up the eNASCAR College iRacing Series paint scheme contest, and at the end of it all, how about this look? Alan, I want to get your take on this. It was Missouri S&T's Caleb Bryan coming away with $500 iRacing swag bag for this sort of hexagonal chrome look, but I love it. I think it looks great.
Absolutely original, and it's just another one of those things that this sim world, what it provides, the next designer, the next driver, the next engineer, it's all going to come from iRacing, and that includes the designer of paint schemes. I can't wait till this person, Caleb Bryan, starts being able to design some Sunday schemes. It's going to happen. We're going to have that pipeline. I love it.
Wouldn't be surprised if we see him put together some skis and some cars soon. So now, Alan, let's go back to it. Let's talk about Rockingham, and let's talk about what was a chaotic start, but then a very racy race once we got going.
Oh yeah, we were back at the Rock, and whoa, there was action right away, Ryan. I think maybe Ottinger may have spun his wheels there at the beginning, and it caused a bunch of chaos, but after that, it was smooth, and guess what we saw? We saw some strategy racing. I really like that aspect of it.
Yeah, and I knew that strategy would come into play with how this track likes to wear, the groove widens out, how tire wear comes into play, as well as fuel mileage. A lot of guys were trying to run a little long, some guys short pitted, and it worked out for some guys, didn't work out for others, but at the end of the day, you know, you see these guys battling up at the front. Tucker Minter obviously getting the win. It was an impressive display of how talented these drivers are. These next-gen cars, they are a handful around the bumpy edge. You see Jordi Lopez there getting mighty sideways in turns number 1 and 2 there, but Rockingham Raceway, this is the old surface, by the way. This is before the repave, and you see it right there as Owen Wright Femi.
That was during the strategy to pit, whether or not going into pit road, checking up too quick, or not noticing they were going to check up, caused that chaos, but that led to strategy calls. Tucker Minter that was Tucker. He was cooking it in there, but he was able to pit a lot later than Steven Wilson, gets by Steven Wilson on different strategies, and Tucker Minter drives away with it and is able to get his first win of the season. Third straight season he's won a race here in the series, Ryan. Another great one for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of my thoughts here coming out of this as we look at the playoff standings here. Obviously, the big name at the top, Steven Wilson, 3 wins to top the scoreboard here. Tucker Minter getting that win there. Rockingham puts him all the way up in second. Colin Keister with the impressive performance at Las Vegas. He slots into third. But then you see all these other guys. Zach Novak, your segment 1 winner. If he gets a win here, he's got those extra playoff points. He's going to be a factor. But I'm looking down at the bottom of this playoff list here. Casey Kerwin, 4 points the gap. And then you have Bobby Z. He's good for a road course win this year. We know that. I kind of said he might not get one this year, but, you know, man, he has a lot of consistent speed, so you can't fault him out, Alan.
Yeah, and that's the driver's side. Let's not forget about the team standings, some pride, trophy, and money on the line. Spire Motorsports on the back of Steven Wilson leading this column right here. Not by much, only by 9 points, right in front of Channel 199 Sim Racing, who Novak was able to get that segment win. And we've got Travis Pastrana, the owner of Channel 199 Sim Racing, live on the show coming up. So look forward to talking about that with him. I'm looking at who's in 4th place there because Tucker Minter's shoulders must be so sore because he is carrying that team right now. They are in 4th place. Congrats to him on getting the win. And then our boy Blake McCandless, the other side of that column, Junior Motorsports, sitting there in 20th. I want both of those drivers to step it up as we go forward, James.
Would be interesting to see. Now, we also wrapped up segment 1 for the 2025 campaign at Rockingham. Zach Novak wins segment 1. Zach Novak also gets 5 playoff points. If he's able to get in there, that's big. And he won them off of consistency, too. 1 finish outside the top 10, all top 10s in the other 4 races. So consistency is the order of the day for Novak. He gets segment 1. Here's segment 2 coming up. Talladega, Charlotte, Nashville, Kansas. So a little bit of mile-and-a-half action in there. And then our wild card tonight at a super speedway, which is going to be really, really entertaining, I think, to watch, Ryan.
Yeah, and you look at these segments here, right? My biggest thing is we're starting at Talladega. That's the calm round. But man, I have a lot on my mind following Rockingham, and the biggest thing that I'm looking, is there a chink in Steven Wilson's armor? Is there something wrong here? Because I don't know what happened there, but he kind of laid an egg with the strategy. I know we got caught up a little bit earlier there and got mired back in traffic, but man, I know, look, it's one race where he had internet that he lost. That's the only race this year he's lost with his internet. So, but there's a lot of really, really good guys out there. You know, you have Novak, who doesn't have a win. You have Casey Kerwin, who's been laying in the weeds. There's a lot of guys out there who are wanting to take it from him, Alan.
Absolutely, and one of them is Tucker Minter, because I think what we saw in Rockingham, it shows Tucker Minter is Steven Wilson's best challenger here in 2025. I say that not only because of consistency. Tucker Minter, William Byron Esports, they're always good, always consistent. But in this league, in this format, you have to win. So you have to combine the consistency with the ability to win. Tucker Minter proved he can do that for the third straight season, been doing it since he was a rookie. If you can be consistent and get to victory lane, that's the way to a championship. Tucker Minter is Steven Wilson's best competition this year.
And he's one of 3 drivers that picked up a win in the first segment of the 2025 season. So to your point, Alan, not too many people have proven that they can go head-to-head and challenge Steven, but Tucker at Rockingham was just about unrivaled. So certainly one to watch, I think, as we move forward into segment 2. As always, time to take a look at some of your rigs, courtesy of our friends at Logitech G. So we're going to see what we have on tap for us. And first off, Alan, we've got the 2019 Coke Series champion, the Segment 1 winner, Zach Novak, who's got a big comfy seat. And look at the money on the wall from his Ignite Series title and his Coke Series championship, making sure that the people know what he's accomplished.
Yeah, if you didn't know he was the champ, all you have to do is look on the side of his wall. I love it. Motivation, money, baby. Green means go, and go means go win fast. I like the dual setup. I like the seat. You can see why he's a champion, why he's a segment winner. I mean, he's got it all. I love this.
That's a fabulous setup. Here's, I think, maybe one of the better examples of a dorm rig setup. This is from Peter Irons. I've actually seen Peter compete in a lot of independent leagues here. So, Ryan, no shocker that he's got a pretty dedicated rig and a really, really good setup in a tight space. You don't necessarily have to have an ocean to build a good rig.
No, not at all. In fact, this is the perfect example coming off the heels of talking about the college series. This is the perfect example of a dorm setup. You see right there, he's even got the pool noodle above his head right there, so he doesn't knock his head. So, really nice little setup here for Peter, and I like the triple monitor. Looks really good. The cable management, look, it's no worse than mine, so I'll give him a break on that one.
I like that pool noodle. The amount of times I've run my noggin into something, I would probably need that too. Here's Max Jacobson, Alan. A bit of a simpler setup, but again, proof that you don't have to have all these bells and whistles. You can go sim racing really easily, and he's got a good set of wheels and pedals to rock and roll with.
100%. That is the beauty of iRacing. You could have a Novak setup, or you could have a Max Jacobson setup and still compete. Simple is all you need. A desktop is all you need. An office chair. I want a little more comfort. I mean, just for our friend Max there. And maybe some cable management. You don't want to trip over anything. But as long as you can go racing, that's all you got to do. Good job, Max.
Next up on the list, how about Bradley Butler? And there's so much. You got the Millennium Falcon on the left. You got, I think, a pirate ship on the right. You've got so much to examine here. And a little Dale Earnhardt frame poster there, too.
I was going to say, this is a nice setup here. I really love the really wide monitor. I'm a big fan of just one solid wide monitor. Really good setup here. You got the Logitech pedals. A little old school there. I see that. But you said it. There's a Millennium Falcon. Got a pirate ship for some reason, but love it.
Final one here, Alan, from Reed Sanders, and this is a woodworking masterpiece. I love the tones there of the wood there holding down the PC and the keyboard.
I love the juxtaposition of technology, the woodworking and then the iRacing technology. But look at the keyboard holder there, the nice, beautiful computer setup, the triple monitor almost wrapping around the beautiful seat. Again, so many different creative ideas. This is how you do it. Let's go racing.
A big thanks to everyone who sent in their rigs. And if you want to see your rig featured on the next eNASCAR Countdown to Green, use the hashtag eNASCAR and tag eNASCARGG and iRacing on social media if you want the shot to see your rig featured in the next show. Now, it's time for one of our favorite segments in Countdown to Green. It makes its first appearance in 2025. Ryan Vargas, I know you're ready to go. Let's bring the people some really dude.
Oh yeah, I was so excited when I got told I get to do this segment, picking up from Blake last year. Really, dude? Oh man, I'm ready for it. We started off at Daytona, BS Plus competitions. Jordi Lopez, not clear. Just comes right on up on Eddie Kerner down the backstretch and completely destroys his left front. You see it right there, it's locked up. Let's get another shot here. Oh man, there's nothing that Eddie Kerner could have done there. He was just stuck right there, and now game over there. Here's a really good shot at it right here. Jordi Lopez, he's got a hole, and it's closed. And Eddie's there. Come on, Jordi. Really, dude? I know you're better than that. Hopefully we don't see him later on in this list. Hopefully not. But we're going to go to Vegas now. Nate Stewart in the middle of a long run. Oh, man, buddy. Ah, man, I know the rookie struggles are always difficult, right? You know, you're racing hard, but Right here, you see Nate Stewart really pushing on the top lane, gets a little arrow tight, I think, just gets too much and gets into the wall, really throws this race on its head. We saw how much this really affected the race, so Nate, really, dude, lot to learn. Keep it up, buddy. I know it's going to come back around. Interlagos, we're going to toss to Michael Cozy Jr. for ERA Esports. He's all the way off to the right, bottom of 4 wide, and just cleans them out. Look, I know we were at Interlagos there, but it might as well be Watkins Glen because we went bowling right there. Michael Cozy Jr. just sends it in on the bottom lane right there. Oh, man, takes out 6-7 cars and just nowhere to go. Cozy, come on, man. Really, dude? Come on. Oh, man. Anyways, we're going to shift right on back to Richmond. Richmond, oh, man, a familiar face. Jordi Lopez on the front row, gearing up for the start, and hesitates. And in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, you cannot launch, then stop like that in the restart zone. It is against the rules. That is an instant black flag. Jordi Lopez right there. He had a prime spot. He was up at the front. Come on, buddy. As you see right here, as we cut to it in a second, he's going to go all the way down pit road under green. Jordi, really, dude, you folded on that one. And lastly, we got Rockingham. Rockingham, we started off with the bang, but with the veteran, Nick Ottinger. What are you doing, buddy? We're in the restart here, coming to the green, and I don't know if he misses a shift, spins the tires, restarted in the wrong gear, but whatever happened here, you saw it. He collected half the field, virtually. Vicente Salas, innocent bystander here, just completely wipes them all out. Nick, man, really, dude? I know you're better than that. Alan, I don't know. What do you think of all this chaos?
Oh, it's tough to laugh. What else can he do, though, except laugh at some of these? I feel so bad for Nick Ottinger. He was already having the worst year ever, and then he gets the pole. And what happens? Not even before they cross the start-finish line. Really, dude? Come on. And Jordi Lopez, to make really, dude, more than once, not what you want to do. Really, dude?
Tough scene.
That is tough. Now, I actually want to defend Nate Stewart a little bit because, yes, he might have tried to get a little bit too much off of turn 2. Yes, he might have brought out a caution that broke up a long green flag run. But if you watch closely, he nailed the 360 spin at the end. And speaking of people that know a thing or two about 360s, maybe in a motorcycle form when it comes to front flips and back flips and things of that nature, a little bit different, but very relevant, I think, Alan, for tonight's special guest. It's Channel 199 Sim Racing's Travis Pastrana.
Oh, the legendary Travis Pastrana joining us live here on Countdown to Green. I bet he could pull a 360 in just about anything, even a tricycle, a golf cart. Travis, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Oh man, we're flying through the air again. Okay, thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many titles you could have, extreme sports athlete, stuntman. Tonight, we're talking to Travis Pastrana, the owner of an eNASCAR team. How did all that come to be and the success that you're already having? Where did this come from?
And so stoked. Second in the championship this year. I tell you what, Dylan and Zach have done awesome. Really excited for Zach, coming onto the team, leading the points. So stoked. Extra points by leading at the first segment. But Dylan, I mean, for tonight, he won Talladega last time. I'm excited to see him get back on top of that box. But this all started honestly with you had Jim DeChamp, kind of getting together with Trevor Teal during COVID. And actually, Connor Parise, I went in and said, hey, I need some help. So we were able to, kind of got Racecraft sim coaching, which is actually one of the team sponsors, which is really cool. But I went to Connor and I said, look, I'm horrible. And then I realized I just continued being horrible. So we started the LCQ League with Alex Rossi, Connor Daly, a bunch of the IndyCar, NASCAR. We even had Ricky Carmichael and Chad Reed, and we were just sim racing all through COVID and just having an absolute blast. And then just kind of not using Connor, but trying to get help. So the iRacing came out with Mount Washington, which was absolutely awesome. So right before I did the record run up there, I was just on iRacing. I literally went to iRacing headquarters and just spent probably 20 hours straight on the sim because there was no other sim that was doing Mount Washington. So it's been a wild ride, but just excited to see how well the team's doing this year, and looking to hopefully a good night tonight. It's always tough with super speedways for sure.
As someone who's done the real thing at Talladega, at Daytona, how do you compare the sim and how it can prepare you for the real thing, and just how good these drivers are that you have?
Oh, it's absolutely amazing, and I think the sim it helps so much. I didn't get the seat of the pants feel like so many of the up and coming drivers. It's a whole new it's a whole new it's a new event, really, because when you can be good at the sim, you can learn so much. And I feel like Talladega, would have been so good to have some more sim racing, to have some more experience, when I was doing it then. But this year, I was in the sim all the time, and or a couple years ago before racing Daytona 500. And yeah, I'm not as good as any of the guys out there, but got on a good team. I said, look, just stay out of trouble. Let's see if we're in there at the end. And was able to be running. I mean, we were running top 10 last lap, and I kind of got so focused on, just getting behind Bubba, who was my teammate, and I didn't check the rear view and kind of see the car's going to do some different stuff. So honestly, I think if I would have used a little bit more of my sim racing experience and just had more sim racing experience, I probably would have been a top 5 potentially at the Daytona 500. But unfortunately, my sim racing skills never put me up that far in the front towards the end of one of these events.
Hey, let's not discount. You have one Series Cup start, and it was an 11th in the Daytona 500. Out of all your accomplishments, Travis, that's one of the best, so don't discount that whatsoever. But I want to talk about Channel 199, the team, and the YouTube channel, the formation of all that. How does that help you promote the brand, the drivers, and everything that you're about?
The coolest thing for me is just being a part of racing, and we found that sim racing has truly inspired the next generation of drivers, not only to learn and to get better at actual racing, but to get into racing. I feel like, you can't work on the cars as much as you could. It's something that, a lot of kids did with their parents. They'd go out and they work on the vehicles and they'd watch NASCAR, and you don't see as much of this. So now with sim racing, similar to what Tony Hawk Pro Skating did for action sports, and that's probably the only reason it was in X Games, is because kids started playing skateboard video games, and then they started going out and buying skateboards and trying to do what they were doing on the video games and literally live their video game in real life. And I think with sim racing coming around, it's not only so much safer when you go do something like Mount Washington, or any long track, or just to not have to learn the tracks when you get there. And now the cars are so similar that you can really get in a vehicle and you can set it up. And I did, Porsche Cup up Pikes Peak, and we had the car set up. The data that I was learning from the sim took straight over and directly transferred, which is just absolutely unbelievable. The homework that you're able to put in now because of sim is great, and the inspiration that it's given the next generation to get out there and drive.
You made sure to have the YouTube channel and make sure that got out there. What do you want people to get from that and all the content on there?
At the end of the day, I love motorsport. I love racing, and I just hope that I can continue to have fun doing what I love to do. And I know it's living the dream and try to ride this train till the wheels fall off, which my dad always said. My uncles are construction, and they're like, look, any day that you can wake up, no matter how bad of a day it is, and you can do what you love to do, it's worth doing. And I think the sim racing has really inspired a lot of people to be able to, even if they're not able to get in NASCAR to do that, they still have that same competitive spirit, and they can do it after work, they can do it whenever. And it's that racing mentality that really drives everything. So it's been fun. I mean, I remember my first year at Daytona, following Tony Stewart all the way through, got separated with like 2 laps to go in the green-white checkered, and he went on to win. And I'm spinning across the infield. I ended up 10th in the nationwide, and I was so bummed. I'm like, Dad, I had a chance. And he's like, I would give anything to be going backwards. Kyle Larson, his car is like literally disintegrating, like just into the fence. And Dad's like, I would give anything to be able to slide at 180 miles an hour backwards across the Daytona lawn. He's like, do you realize that you're bummed out about like the top 10? Like this is fantastic. And it just kind of brings things into perspective that, every day that you get to do something you love, it's living someone else's dream. And definitely, I'm excited to continue doing what we do. And with the channel 199, if anyone has a chance to check it out, it's been a lot of fun, and we've been able to bring a lot of up and coming drivers. Banksy, Gray Ledbetter, a lot of people that are kind of coming through the ranks, and we have drift offs and different thing, and we have fun, and we're able to not following Ken Block's footsteps, but the best that we can follow in Ken Block's footsteps to provide some great content and be able to have fun in the backyard and do it with their family.
You're living the dream, my friend. Well, good luck to your team tonight. Good luck to you improving on the sim. I know there's always got to chase that adrenaline rush, so good luck to you in the future. Thanks so much, Travis, for joining us.
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, what a cool honor, guys. Travis Pastrana, the legend. He's done it all. He's jumped out of airplanes, quad backflips, jumped over bridges, Vegas, everything. And he's here with us trying to get just a little bit better on the sim. He's like all of us.
Yeah, if you aren't enthused and you can't get jacked up and excited watching him talk about motorsports, I can't help you, I don't think. But, Alan, we know you love your statistics. We know you love your trends. So let's give you a moment to go through what your trends are and what you've got picked out for tonight at Talladega.
Yeah, let's see what we can glean from the past at Talladega. Only one driver has multiple wins at Talladega. We've mentioned him a few times already. He needs another one. It's Nick Ottinger. He won here in 2019 and 2021. He needs to get another victory tonight, but he's the only one that has multiple wins at Talladega. Only one driver has ever won at Talladega from the pole. So think about that after qualifying tonight. That was Brad Davies back in 2010, way back then. He's only one of two drivers ever in this series to actually win after getting a pole at a super speedway. So qualifying, how much does it matter? We'll just have to see tonight. The last three race winners here at Dega went on to make the playoffs. That includes Bobby Z, Bobby Zielinski, Casey Kerwin, and Dylan Duval back in 2024. That was just last year. So, look, you get a win. Dylan Duval was the only super speedway winner to make the playoffs last year in 2024. So, the winner of Daytona, Wyatt Tinsley, got relegated, and the winner of Atlanta also got relegated. So, we got to see what happens. How much can we pull from tonight's victory? We'll just have to see. Bobby Zielinski is the only winner to make the championship four, the only Talladega winner. Think about that. Only 5 of the 17 super speedway winners have made the championship four. I know a win likely locks you into the playoffs, but it doesn't guarantee deep playoff success. Bobby Z, the only one to pull that off so far. We'll see what happens tonight. Steven Wilson, he's done it before. We expect him to go deep, and we know he can win at a super speedway. We'll see what happens.
There's a lot that could unfold at Talladega, but before we get to Talladega, it's time to make our picks for tonight's race. So, Alan, you've got the lead coming into this, but Ryan, you actually had the best week out of the usual panel. You went with the Rockingham guy, the native Blake McCandless, and that worked out pretty well for you. So we'll let you lead off.
Yeah, I had to go with my boy Blake for Rockingham. It's his track, right? But it's Talladega. It's hard to pick. I'm going off vibes. My vibes say Casey Kerwin. He's a former champ. He's been, like I said earlier, he's been laying in the weeds. Is tonight the night he strikes? I think it is.
Not bad. A little bit of a dice roll, former champ, but I'm going with an even closer victor, is what I'm trying to say. Parker White. That's my pick. I can't spit it out. He's just, I'll say it when he's in victory lane. The 95 Parker White gets another dub. He does it tonight.
I am not going to pick on behalf of Camille, but she did get our pick to us. And Camille this evening is picking Tucker Minter to go back-to-back. And why not? Runner-up in this race 1 year ago, has 3 top 5 finishes in his 5 plate starts in the Coke Series. So the stats are behind him. And Ella, that almost seems like a pick you can get behind.
Yeah, and the big thing that I'm hearing producer Drew in my ear, but Quentin Warman is on the pole for tonight's race. A bit of a shocker there, but remember, tonight's race is a fixed setup race. Everybody in this field has the same setup. So there's no setup shops, there's no back-end affiliation. Everybody is the same playing field. So tonight, there's another guy, Quentin Warman. I mean, who knows? It's anybody's game tonight, James.
You can start at the front, you can start at the back, you can make your way to the front. That's where you have to be at the end of things. For Ryan Vargas and Alan Cavana, I'm James Pike. A big thanks to our crew at iRacing. This has been the eNASCAR Countdown to Green Coke Series. Talladega coming up at you next. We're looking forward to it. We'll see you on the other side with action from the biggest and baddest and fastest NASCAR track in the wall.
Every time you sit behind the wheel, you buckle up for the unexpected. You get ready to take on the competition and brace yourself for the chaos, the speed, the weather, the unknown. But above all, when strapping in, you put trust in yourself, your intuition, making your guide to win, your drive to win.
He's a winner in this.
And nothing is going to stop you from winning.
Tried to drag me down, but look who's laughing now. Look who's laughing now. I believe in something that I can't explain. The wind is calling out my name. Let it rain on me. Put in the hours, and I'm not gonna wait in line. I'm gonna take what's mine for the world to see. You gotta take the lead. You gotta feel the fire.
The road to $500,000 is ready for a 200-mile-an-hour game of chicken at the most intimidating track on the schedule. From iRacing's virtual Talladega Superspeedway, we say good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to round 6 of the 2025 eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. It is year 16. It is visit number 10 to this historic racetrack, Kenneth, and as always, the same storylines every spring when we head here to Talladega. Ring true, you heard a lot of it in Countdown to Green. Unpredictability, opportunity, and a guarantee being that you tuning in at home don't know who's going to win this one. Should be a thriller as always.
Well, we saw a thriller, Evan, already in qualifying, which we'll get to that in a couple of moments. But this track is the king of chaos, one where you really don't know what's going to happen until that checkered flag falls. It's all about putting yourself in the right position, trying to figure out who your friends are from lap 1 to lap 70. And we've seen before many new winners here at this 2.66 mile superspeedway. So, Evan, we should see another fantastic outing for our second superspeedway of the year.
It's also going to be the first fixed setup race of the year. We'll talk more about that as the night goes on. But I think we've got room in this shot for one more. Let's bring in the third member of the booth team. They left the door open. Ryan Vargas sticking around and joining us from Countdown to Green. So, Ryan, appreciate you giving us your time and looking forward to your expertise as we head to Talladega here this afternoon.
Oh yeah, no, they left the booth unlocked, so I snuck my way in. But regardless, I love Talladega. I love me some super speedway racing. And as you see here, we're going to the biggest and baddest of them all, Talladega Superspeedway here in Talladega, Alabama. 2.66 miles long. That is massive. 33 degrees of banking in the corners. The tri-oval is banked. That's still a relatively steep 16.5 degrees. This place opened in 1969, and last year's winner was Dylan Duvall.
And we've only seen one driver get multiple race wins here in Dega. We'll see if that trend of new race winners continues. For NASCAR Fan Rewards members joining us, your code for tonight is DEGA73Q. Enter that code on your member dashboard. Lock in your 50 points for joining us on tonight's broadcast. And again, it's week 6, but if for some reason you're not signed up yet, you can still do so. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to NASCAR.com/fan rewards. Get yourself signed up. We'll be doing those fan rewards points redemptions all season long. Well, the qualifying session has drawn to a close. Let's go trackside and take a look at your Coca-Cola starting grid. And it is career pole number 1 for the rookie, the Hayek Motorsports number 50 of Quentin Warman will bring us to the green flag tonight. He's joined on the front row by the Latardi Sports 36 of Kwame Scott. Back on row number 2, it is the Latardi Sports teammate to Scott, Connor Urashak in the number 40 car. He starts next to the Channel 199 Sim Racing number 2 of Zach Novak. I'm sure team boss Travis Pastrana wants it on. Happy with that one. Row number 3, inside, it is the Pioneers number 24 of Casey Kerwin. And to the outside, the Vegas Inferno 21 of Michael Guest. Row number 4, inside, the Canani Sports 11 of Vicente Salas. And the outside, the KHI 29 of Jimmy Mullis. And through your top 10, inside row number 5, the second Vegas Inferno car, that's the one of Malik Ray. To his outside, teammate to your pole sitter, the Hayek Motorsports 47 of Dylan Alt.
Nick Ottinger, who has won 2 career Talladega races, rolls off in position number 11 inside row number 6 for William Byron Esports. Brian LaPratte still looking for a spark in 2025. He'll bring his number 88 Junior Motorsports car from the outside in position number 12. Then Seth the Merchant for the FGR XL camp in the car of 14 on the inside of row 7. And then Talladega winner from just 1 year ago, Dylan Duval in the Channel 199 Ford will take on the outside of row number 7. Kevin Harvick Incorporated has Matt Busa on the inside of row 8, car number 62, with Tucker Minter trying to go back-to-back in 2025. The winner from Rockingham for William Byron Esports will roll off this race from P16. Colin Keister, Las Vegas winner for Jim Beaver Esports, looks to the inside of row 9, but Alexander Russell, rookie for Kanani Esports, the number 66, rolls off from 18th on the grid. Final 2 in the top 20, Atlassian Williams Sim Racing driver Donovan Strauss and Garrett Lowe for BS Plus competition inside the top 20.
Halfway home brings us to the RFK Racing number 6 of Colin Bowden and his teammate to the outside, the 17 at Timmy Holmes. A lot to like there for team boss Brad Keselowski. Row number 12, inside. Your number, inside of that spotter, I should say, the ERA Esports team 34, Michael Cozy Jr. To the outside, how about Eddie Kerner, the 6 car, number 19 car. He starts P24. Lucky row 13 will see the E-Racer 69 of Tyler Gary, joined by the ERA Esports team 22 of Bobby Zelensky. So a couple of good starting spots there for the Jesse Iwuji camp. Row number 14, we'll see the FGR XL E-Racing 12 of Ryan Luza, lined up next to the Jim Beaver Esports number 5 of Nate Stewart. And as we round out your top 30 starters, row 15, we'll see the Team Dillon Esports 33 of Wyatt Tinsley, a substitute role tonight for him, next to the second 6 Karma entry, the 39 of Daniel Falkingham.
Back in 31st is newly minted eNASCAR College iRacing Series champion Logan Clampett for eRacer, and Team Dillon Esports has rookie Blaze Crawford on the outside in position number 32. Then Parker White looking to rebound from a 35th place effort at Rockingham a couple of weeks ago for the Atlassian Williams Sim Racing Group. The defending champ will start inside in row 17, but Femi Olatunbosin for the Spire Motorsports Camp Real Life NASCAR team, that's car number 7 in position 34. Then the Apex Racing Camp out of the UK, Cody Bias in the 98 car rolls off from the inside of row 18, but the Kansas City Pioneers number 48 of Graham Bolin rolling off deep in P36. Steven Wilson, who's going to try to recover after a rocky Rockingham, will roll off inside of row number 19 for Spire Motorsports. Jordy Lopez trying to put his season together as of late. Car number 89 will roll off for the BS Plus competition group in position 38. And then come the final 2, rolling shotgun in this field from Talladega. Christopher M. Hill in the 96 for the Apex Racing team, and then the Dale Jr. operated Junior Motorsports camp with the 8 car of Blake McCandless bringing the end to our 40 car field from the baddest track in the mall.
And in somewhat of a rarity, all 40 cars based on time in the qualifying session. Well, We're keeping a lot of our Countdown to Green folks around. Let's hand things off to the fourth member of tonight's broadcast team. James Pike is on the radio with tonight's pole sitter.
Representing Kayak Motorsports is Quentin Warman, the rookie in the Coke Series who sits on pole. So, Quentin, how do you play with pole at Talladega, given how races here play out a little bit differently compared to most places? What sort of advantages give you here compared to some of the other places?
Say too much, but it does it helps to be out of possible carnage that could happen. But honestly, I'll admit I'm not the best plate racer, so we'll just see how this race plays out. I'm going to try and play it conservative, but starting up front definitely helps at the start.
Mears' qualifying effort from Daytona earlier in the year where he rolled off 7th. That's also incidentally his best finish of the year to date so far at Las Vegas. We'll try and go better than both of those tonight and see if he can't finish where he starts and end up in victory lane at the end of the night.
Well, the stats would suggest that starting from pole position isn't the end-all be-all at a place like Talladega, but I'm sure it certainly feels better than to be in center of the pack, at least when we get this race underway. And speaking of the challenge that is ahead, let's look at our Logitech G race format with Kenneth.
Yeah, we just go a little over 186 miles from Talladega. That's worth 70 laps in the race distance. Our pit road speed at 55 miles an hour. We should expect pit road at around 40 to 45 laps in. That is if we stay green. So at the moment, drivers are looking at one more stop to the end of this race. We have 3 tire sets available. Not the biggest deal at a track where you're usually going full throttle around, but it should be something of note. And the biggest thing to take care of, fixed setups tonight. The teams did not touch any of the cars in the week leading up to this Talladega race, so everyone's got the same equipment heading into this one.
And that is notably different to what we saw in the season opener at Daytona, the other superspeedway, traditional superspeedway, I guess we'll call it, with the addition of Atlanta in recent years. Stephen Wilson, race winner in the season opener. Does that team have the same pace as they did in week number 1? Warman's got pole, but there's a lot of 94-octane Sunoco Chevrolets around him. Scott and Urashak on the outside of row number 1, and the inside of row 2 going to be looking to go together. Center of the tri-oval, not quite there yet. Field in the hands of Quentin Warman. Let's go racing at Talladega. Early moves to a third lane. No support for Kwame Scott. It was the 2 and Novak who went high. Everybody else followed. And a horrible opening set of corners for that 36 car.
Yeah, but when you have nobody to help you at a track this big, you are just left in the water waiting for somebody to grab your arm and pull you out. Scott thankfully has the other rookie behind him, that's Alexander Russell, and then goes the Channel 199 sim racing car of Dylan Duval. No surprise, making the move to the middle 3 wide, but not sure if that was a devised plan by Novak and company to move up high and make this shot around Kwame Scott Chevrolet, but for now it seems to work out in their favor. We're already 3 abreast before lap 1 is complete. Casey Kerwin going to try to lead him back to turn 1.
Kerwin does lead outside of the racetrack at the end of lap number 1. Slight margin over that of Warman, and now that third lane has come down, make it 2 wide amongst the race leaders. Warman now the advantage on the inside. Plenty of opportunities, but that third lane gone as quickly as it appeared inside of the top 10. First car, third lane, that 97 of Minter. He's way back in P20, but Vargas, this looks like it'll present an opportunity for the outside to build some momentum as we ride along with the iRacing drone.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about building that energy in that top lane right now. Right now, what I'm seeing is all these guys are really separated right now. You see that 6 Karma machine not really closing to the back of that ERA Esports machine. They're really separated on that top side lane, and that's not allowing that top lane to push itself forward. They don't have to physically touch each other to push forward, but when you're separated like that, it's going to be a tough time to make some moves.
Up front, the number 24, a Kerwin, clear of the inside of the racetrack. Looked like maybe center of the corner. He was going to go down and stay there. He's right back to up top. And the 11 of Vicente Salas all over the bumper with a big look to the outside. 24 shut the door there. So 3 abreast down the backstretch into turn 3. Salas now going to go for the undercut on the 24. He'll find himself breaking through to the advantage as they come to 4.
And that's the role you have to play as the leader in a pack as big as this. And this goes for a first pack, a secondary pack, a third pack. It doesn't matter how widespread we get in terms of pack racing. If you are the leader, you have to constantly be aware of the runs that build up at either lane. And when you've got all three lanes occupied, it's a little hard to spread your attention across the entire speedway and to make a block in a desired amount of time to not cause a big stack up. But Salas is already starting to play the defense. There goes Jimmy Mullis to the inside. That'll help Salas get the push off of turn 2. But keep an eye on those gold and white Chevrolets for Vegas Inferno. Michael Guest and Malik Ray, both of them worked cohesively at Daytona to kick off the season. No surprise, they're up at the front leading the outside.
We mentioned it as well on Countdown to Green, but it's a bit of a different look on board the number 42 machine, and that's because Logan Clampett of Cal State Fullerton secured the 2024-25 eNASCAR College iRacing Series Championship just a week ago. That series has amassed more than $250,000 in sponsorship dollars over the course of several seasons now, and Logan Clampett in a heated battle late in that race, topping the likes of Steven Wilson. So two of the very best in this series did battle on that series on a weekly basis. And Logan's car tonight, about as close of a replica as you're allowed to get. You see those college cars without the numbers and with the names on the side. So that is the different color scheme for the College Series champ Clampett. Second college title, first in the combined semester format, but he won the spring 2023 one as well, so he's got another College Series trophy headed his direction. If he wants to win tonight, though, a little bit of work to do. You saw him back there in the number 28 spot. Is up front, a little bit of non-committal to the middle lane. Leader of that is Jimmy Mullis. To the outside, new leader, though, Malik Ray.
And we got a bit of a stack up on the inside lane. There are a couple cars out of line. It's still green, though. Nobody's around, and that's the big thing here. That's going to really separate that pack. We're going to see some big runs coming down the backstretch here, or heading into 3. But really, right there, you see Casey Kerwin and Malik Ray working together. Former teammates, mind you. They were teammates last year at Spire Motorsports. Those two guys worked really good together at Daytona. I look for those two to be up front at a majority of the night here tonight.
See that 2-car looking to go to the middle. Zach Novak wants to find a spot under the 199 machine on the outside of Dylan Duvall. Not going to find the real estate quite yet. Now it'll open up the 36 car, the one without support on the bottom. He's going to drop to the back, and the middle lane pulls in front. And that's as good of a segue as we'll get as you see the stars and stripes of the 199 at Dylan Duvall on the outside to bring the 199 back into the broadcast booth. Travis Pastrana still hanging out with us, the team owner of Channel 199 Sim Racing. Travis, we appreciate you being gracious with your time. I know you were talking with Alan on Countdown to Green, but first thoughts, I mean, you've raced here at Talladega. Dylan's doing pretty good so far.
I have to say, Dylan, after winning here last year, that track racer racecraft 199 car was looking good. Red, white, and blue, pushing up to the front. Definitely excited. And with Zach Novak, 2019 champ, leading the championship this year, could not be more excited about this team we got going. I'm actually watching the broadcast. It's a little behind where we're talking about right now, so I'm trying to catch up.
I'll try to stay spoiler-free for you. Tell us about this team. I mean, you talked on Countdown about, how much more involved in the sim you've gotten really post-COVID. We've seen that with a lot of professional race car drivers as well. What is it about somebody like yourself who's done just about everything, motocross, rally, Monster Jam, and everything in between, to be such involved in this, not only as a passion of yours personally, but to want to get involved and have a team at eNASCAR's top level?
Honestly, it was COVID. We did a lot of kind of sim racing. We kind of called it the LCQ League with all the, Connor Daly and Alex Rossi and Carmichael and Chad Reed, and everybody just jumped in on the sims. And it was really, really cool to see how much we could learn, and even racing with NASCAR and kind of figuring out the drafts and different just kind of patterns and what to look forward to. But it really saved my life and helped set the record up Mount Washington. Just learning all the different turns. So sim racing has helped out so much. I feel like a dinosaur. Sometimes these next generation drivers are so good at taking what they learn from the sim, and even guys like Scott Speed. It's a whole new era in motorsport right now.
I've heard guys like Tony Kanaan, who also are team owners in this series, talk about how he gets way more stressed watching his driver race in this series than anything he's done behind the wheel, because the control is out of your hands. So what kind of role do you take with the team and with your drivers and Zach and Dylan and try to be there for them?
Honestly, I just ask for advice as much as possible because I feel like sim racing, it's a series where everyone can be involved. So the talent in sim is absolutely amazing. You look at Race of Champions, I mean, you have guys that are the sim racers that are jumping in and doing really well against like Formula One champions like Sebastian Vettel. I mean, the sim racer took Sebastian Vettel to the best of 3 rounds at iRacing, at Race of Champions in real life. Conor Parisi came over to the house, and he was actually he was one of the rallycross drivers for Channel 199, and he jumped in a Can-Am in his first lap. I'm like, man, it looks like you've been driving this your whole life. So really cool to see what you can learn from sim. And then you look at drivers like Matt Crafton, and Matt's like, man, he goes, I don't understand. I don't have the seat of the field, kind of like myself and a lot of the older drivers. And he goes, the younger drivers are learning so much in the sim, and they're finding out so much data. And it's like that seat time is actually translating over, 100%, even at the very, very top level. So it's pretty cool what you can learn these days.
We've seen people like yourself, you mentioned the Mount Washington run, using the sim as a tool to prep. We're also seeing a lot of drivers in this level of sim racing use the sim as a stepping stone to getting real-world racing opportunities. That really wasn't the case 10 years ago, but seems to be a trend that this professional sim racing is going in.
Without a doubt. And I think the coolest part is if you can race in the sim, you have the motor response, and you have a whole aspect. There's a seat of the pants feel. There is, and there's the fear aspect as well. And if you look at sim racing, I think it's more intense, honestly, than real racing because there's less fear. If you take the fear out of a sport, you really, it's a recipe for disaster, but it's also the sim racers that are at the top level that we're watching here tonight. Their reflexes are so quick, and it was funny when we used to do the Red Bull stuff. Their fastest reflexes of any sport they had was all of their video gamers. So it's pretty neat to see. As much as my parents were always like, get off the video games, stop playing video games, and now you see it as, even with concussion protocol and everything, they're like, hey, you should play more video games. You should actually work on your eye-hand coordination, and it is actually training the brain to be faster.
Well, your guy Dylan Duvall's a defending race winner here at Dega. You've done the Superspeedway racing in NASCAR before, so 70-lap race. If you're behind the wheel, or if you had the chance to talk to him, what would your strategy be, and any advice from your real-world experience that you could give to the guys for this one?
Yeah, don't take any of my advice for sure. I mean, it was awesome. Actually, my only pole in NASCAR was in the Nationwide Series, which is the secondary series, and qualified pole. I had an absolute awesome teammate. We had a great car with Roush, and unfortunately, I ended up with Michael Annette on my hood. We were battling for the lead. We had 6 of us in the 2-car draft, about probably 3/4 of a lap ahead of 7th, and we blew it. We were going 3 wide, just pushing each other around the track. I don't know what we were trying to do, but we were having a good time until it wasn't.
We've seen this team go through a name change recently. It used to be what was the Nitro Circus Sim Racing team, rebranded now for the Channel 199 Sim Racing team. Obviously, you guys have a lot of really cool content over on that channel. We'll give you one more chance to plug what's on there. I don't know if we have enough time for you to cover all of it, because I think much like your career, there's a little bit of everything going on.
No, at the end of the day, it's an opportunity for me to try to do my best to follow in the late, great Ken Block's footsteps. He started Hoonigan. He was able to bring his family and his friends and really just have fun, drifting cars, sliding cars, getting to race anything, and that's what I love to do. I love to race anything. I'm passionate about racing. I love the sim, and just look at that track racer, Racecraft 199. Man, Dylan Duvall doing us proud out there. We need to get that 199 back on top this year, and I think he can do it here. I'd like to see him repeat this. So sorry to take a hard left on that one, but thank you for having me as a part of this. And I'm really excited to be team owner in this, and looking forward to some great things in the future, not only from our team, but just sim racing in general, and what it's going to open up opportunities for so many great drivers to really make this in the real world.
Well, we appreciate your time, and we appreciate you being ambassador for sim racing, Travis. Thanks for chatting.
Thank you for your time.
He goes by many titles, but at least tonight he goes by team owner of the Channel 199 Sim Racing team, and watching his drivers carry on so far in what has been, I don't want to say a calm start. We've had a couple of scary moments there, Kenneth, when we were chatting with Travis, but they're all still on the racetrack at least, and Wyatt Tinsley with a breakaway on the inside line finds himself in front as we look towards the end of lap number 15.
Yeah, at the beginning of that interview, they were just about 4 wide in the middle of the pack. So that's as crazy as it can get. They did single file out for a little bit, almost seemed like things were just going to die down a little bit, but they have since considered racing once more, and they are racing aggressively. Blake McCandless, by the way, started 40th in this race, and he's already inside the top 5. He has gained so much since the drop of the green flag, and then come moves like that. With these next-gen cars, they are viable to give you such big runs off the corners and down the super speedway straightaways, especially when you have a lot of help. Gets Michael Cozy to the race lead.
And you see Tinsley there, he was leading, seemingly Ryan went to the outside of the racetrack and intentionally dropped back. We jump on board and you take a look there at Blake McCandless on the inside. I always like to see what flavor we're running on board with. It's the C4 Ultimate Energy colors today. Also, shout out to the Canes jersey, NHL playoffs, so Blake's got a vested rooting interest. But we saw that 33 car intentionally drop to the back. Almost seeming like some drivers have decided, hey, I want to get up front. Maybe I'll get an opportunity to lead a lap, and then that's kind of it for them. We've seen a handful of drivers seemingly drop to the back on purpose.
Yeah, and this is actually a strategy that I've applied in real life sim race. I mean, not just in sim racing, but also in real life. Going to Talladega, going to Daytona, hanging out in the 30s, kind of just making sure I got a good lay of the land of what's going on, because at the end of the day, it's a lot easier to prepare for a wreck when you see it all in front of you, right? You get you a little bit extra time, especially with these next-gen cars, with how good of brakes they got, but it lets you have that time to focus and really rein it all in. And you see right there, it's just all about safety, making it to the checkered flag. Because for a lot of these guys, they know that there probably will be a big one, and as long as they're not in it, they're going to probably get some good points, Evan.
You saw the gyro cam there, gave you about as good of a look as we can at the 33 degrees of banking in the center of the corners here at Talladega. Mentioned it at the top of the show as well. Even that tri-oval, 16 degrees of banking, it can be easy to forget that, but that's more banked than a lot of the ovals we go to on the calendar outside of this. So a lot of movement. It's a fun stat I always like to say, but right now there's just as many cars in the top 10 who started outside of the top 25. So there's been a lot of movement, a lot of opportunities if you've wanted them to be aggressive and to make some moves. And there's going to be trouble behind 42, sideways off of turn number 4. It was Logan Clampett in the money lap Toyota, yellow flag number 1 at the end of lap 18.
And it came down, Evan, to a merge of lines as there were 3 wide, but honestly, I'm surprised we didn't see any other drivers get involved in that. In the middle of the pack, that's where things are most dangerous, in the heart of the action. Thankfully, only those 2 cars are involved. Clampett goes for pretty much a harmless spin, and after 19 laps, as aggressive racing that we've seen tonight, Evan, we haven't seen a caution yet until this moment. So it shows you what the drivers were willing to do. They were aggressive, but they were racing hard and very clean. Malik Ray will take the iRacing official pace car for the first yellow, but tough for Logan Clampett there in the scenario, just trying to switch to the middle lane, and unfortunately, it got him all out of whack.
The second car in that one was the 199 of Dylan Duvall, who we had spent a little bit of time talking about when his team boss, Travis Pastrana, was in the booth with us. We'll wait to get a second look at this one. I was just looking at the front to see if there's damage on Duvall's car. It looked like they kind of got stuck together when they came off of the corner. It doesn't seem to be too terrible, but it is ironic that in a place like Talladega, you want your car to be clean because it is the most aerodynamically sensitive type of racetrack on the calendar, but then also you can kind of get away with a little bit of it depending on where you are in the pack, just because the draft is such a big equalizer. We were also talking about pit strategy, being able to get to the halfway point under green. Well, we are 51 laps away from the scheduled distance in this race, and this looks like wholesale pit service, Ryan. So everybody on the same page with yellow number 1.
Yeah, you see the whole field coming down pit road here, taking service, just trying to top off as much as they can with fuel. Maybe they could try and stretch a little bit out of it, but we're going to take a quick look at it here. See Logan Clampett at the top side here, tries to find his way to the bottom, and Dylan Duvall just gets a little bit offset on that left rear quarter panel. It's such a sensitive area there, especially coming off the quarter there. The banking drops off of you. Dylan Duvall probably thought he had a little bit of a hole underneath Clampett there, tried to squeeze in, and just, man, there wasn't enough. We're riding on board here with Nate Stewart.
You can see the move down in front of him. There's the contact, and that was a good piece of driving to get hard on the brakes. Looked like he thought about going high at first. There may not have ended up being space in the end, so Nate Stewart does a good job of sneaking through. And here's another perspective is, again, they were 3 wide pretty consistently. The move was, kind of a double move. Duval made the move first, then the 42. Clampett made the move second. They ended up in the same spot. And most of the time, you get a car sideways, middle of the pack, you don't really get away with it being so minor. Those drivers fortunate that there really wasn't that many cars behind them. That contact happened towards the tail end of the pack. So everybody came down pit road, and the first driver off is the Logitech G Chevrolet of Nick Ottinger, 8.7 seconds in the box, and he will cycle through to P1.
It was interesting there watching the drivers on pit road because there was a healthy mix of guys that just took fuel only, like Ottinger, DeMerchant, and Connor Euroshek. But you look further back, 4th, 5th, and then you go down the top 10. A couple of guys went in for just 2 left side tires. So it's just a case of them trying to find a bit more grip there on the race car. I mean, this is, again, one of those tracks where you're not going to be focused on how much tire wear is there and whether fresh tires will have a big advantage or not. But these next-gen cars, even in a fixed setup environment, they get very snappy in the middle of the draft. So you want to get as much grip as possible all around the shoes of the race car because, you end up in a moment where the car snaps out in the middle of the draft. It's harder to save when the tires are worn out over the course of a 20 to 25 lap run. So interesting to see the differences of play down pit road, but still, everyone cannot make it on a tank of gas to the end. We talked about that fuel window going to 40 to 45, so it'll take a little bit before we see eventually our second round of stop.
Well, I mentioned when talking to Travis that the theme of the year is the sim to reality, and that has continued with our very own Vicente Salas, who made his NASCAR Xfinity Series debut at Rockingham Speedway, came home in 25th position in that race. An incredible opportunity for him. I know, Ryan, you're somebody else who has had the opportunity to compete in that series. And with your vast sim knowledge as well, I think it was really cool to see the likes of Vicente and some of these other guys. But first start for him, that's certainly a big progression, and looking forward to more out of that.
Yeah, most important thing, ran all the laps. That's the biggest thing that you could do as a young driver getting into this Xfinity Series racing. It is so hard. It is so competitive. I preach it time and time again. The Xfinity Series at this point is the most competitive I have ever seen it. We are sending cars home, cars with manufacturer affiliation, cars that are genuinely winning contending. There are guys who are all over the pack. There's a Gibbs car outside the top 20 in points. It is such a stacked field in Xfinity. So for Vicente Salas to A, finish all the laps, and B, leave there with a solid top 25 finish, wipe the hands off. That's a good one. Let's move on to the next one and keep building on it.
And Ryan, that's
Xfinity
cool
Series
experience.
by weekend and Coke by weekday. How about that, KB?
Yeah, it's awesome. And how many drivers can say they've raced at Rockingham Speedway? I mean, it's in NASCAR's return to a famous miler in North Carolina. I mean, that's such a cool experience for Salas to race among some of the best in the series in that secondary level, but also race a track as difficult and as brash as Rockingham. It's a cool experience, and so happy to see Salas get that opportunity. Hopefully that leads to many more down the road.
You said guys like Casey Kane coming back because they wanted to race at the Rock, and how's that for race number one? Yeah, to come out and get your first start. An iconic track. We were hyped about it to have it here on the Coke Series schedule. What a cool opportunity for Vicente. Congratulations to him on that, and looking forward to what is next for him. Meanwhile, we're going to put lap number 21 behind us and get set for the first restart of the afternoon. Ottinger and DeMerchant on the front row. Lead lap still strong with all 40 cars. Green flag in the air. The inside has got a 2-car length advantage as they go through the gears.
They didn't see that much of a big jump from those guys on the top side. DeMerchant sort of lagged back as they got to the restart zone and were chasing for the start-finish line. But if there's anyone you want to have in your rearview mirror giving you the push, it's going to be the one car of Malik Ray, one of the most prominent and aggressive superspeedway drivers that you'll see. He's not afraid to push. He is not afraid to move up to the front. And Ottinger is going to get spun off of turn number 2. Got off the nose from the inside car. And remember, Ottinger's success to get to the pole at Rockingham drifted away from him. Tonight, it is no different. At lap 22, he is the solo car on the back straightaway, and most importantly, no yellow flag.
And another big thing there was he was able to keep that car out of the inside wall. I mean, you get spun out like that coming off of turn number 2. The backstretch here at Talladega is not that long, and you've got a lot of speed Ryan, we'll watch this one and go side by side to take a look at the replay here, but huge driving ability and skill here for the 25 to keep it out of the fence.
Yeah, it's such a difficult position to be in, and we saw it right there. They just got off-center there. Connor Urashak got to that right rear quarter panel of Ottinger, and man, these bumpers, it's really easy to push and lock on. You see it there, Briar LaPrade getting a big shove there. It's so easy to push, but man, if you just get a little off-centered and you hit him at just the wrong moment, you can get turned around, and we just saw right there with Nick Ottinger. Tough season so far, and those problems continuing here tonight at Talladega.
All of this 3 wide for about 14th position on back as the leaders have single-filed things out amongst the top dozen or so. Urashak settling into the lead for the moment. Is there any challenge? There is. Couple of cars to the outside. The number 2 and Novak a little bit late on the move. He'll pull up in front of Zelensky. Gary's there as well. Now they all want to go to the outside. Easier to tell you who's not up high. They're all going to go up top the block. So does Urashak. 29 on Mullis gets a bit of the fence there as they check up and scatter halfway down the backstretch.
It's just a product of what you see in this type of racing, and when everyone at this juncture of the race, I'm a bit surprised that we're seeing them be a little more aggressive and swinging up high and not afraid to go up to make these moves. You're going to have these big time checkups when somebody moves up the block. They shave off a couple miles an hour because they're not in the midst of the draft, and then with the heap of momentum coming from the rear view mirror, it's all of a sudden going to create a huge big difference in miles per hour down the straightaway or in the corner, so it gets everybody a bit out of shape. There's a look at Jordy Lopez, who had started pretty far back in tonight's field. He's one of those guys that, for the BS Plus competition group, is trying to get back on a momentum train. A driver who has won a Coke Series race before has been eager to get back up, and after the Richmond penalty, after Rockingham went awry for him with the spin against Dylan Alt in turns 1 and 2, he's going to try to get back up, and he's got a lot of momentum as we're already 3 wide entering turn 3.
All kinds of check it up going on the outside lane there. Now more drivers looking to the middle. The 2 car of Novak steps down. A couple more go with the block, but he doesn't find any support. Outside lane led now by that 22 of Zelensky. And Ryan, when you're on somebody's bumper, 3rd, 4th in line, how difficult is it both in the sim and real life to be able to tell what's going on up the road? I mean, you see those checkups, and it's easy from the bird's eye perspective of the the iRacing drone cam or whatever look we're on to say just stay off the guy's bumper, but seemingly I think that the view is very limited from behind the wheel in the sim and in real life.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. When you're that 3rd or 4th car in line, there's only so much pushing you really want to do, because you don't want to be that guy that causes that stack up. As we see right there, a big stack up into 3. That's Jimmy Mullis on the apron. That's a product of that stack up. That's exactly what I talked about. It causes that ricochet effect, and right there, Jimmy Mullis, amazing save to keep that car under control, but making sure that you're able to keep that gap and push that car forward without even physically touching them. I talked about it earlier. Getting that air bubble to move your lane forward is so key to success here.
Urashak was the leader the last time by the stripe, but this time he's back in 18th position. So the turnover rate continues at the front of the field. Wyatt Tinsley working the inside line. He's the leader on the bottom of the racetrack. How about Wyatt filling in for Taylor Hurst this afternoon for Team Dillon Esports? Wyatt was a race winner. He got a pole in the Coke Series last season, but it finished tied for 21st in the points, just missed the automatic qualification cut line. Had a really strong showing of P6 in the Contender Series, did not get the pick in the free agency period. So make no mistake, Kenneth, this is a Coke Series caliber driver who's already won on a super speedway in the last year and a half, who wants another one, and what a story that would be for a fill-in driver.
And Tinsley is a hungry driver. He's one of those guys that missed out on getting to a team in the free agency period through the offseason. So he's one of those guys that comes into this race thinking, okay, I'm filling up a big role for Taylor Hurst, who's got the incident point limit after Rockingham and after all that to happen. But he's trying to get himself back on this radar and tell the field, I am worthy of being a Coke Series driver in this year or next year, regardless of how many years I continue to run the sim. And Tinsley's done a phenomenal job, but part of that has been the help from Parker White. Those two are really good friends off the sim. They are Alliance teammates at North Forest Racing, so they've worked very well together, either in official sessions or in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series. So Parker has definitely surged Tinsley a lot. They have been cohesive, attached at the hip, if you will, and Tinsley is being outstanding right now. There goes Bobby Zelensky to give him the push. Tinsley back to the lead to turn 1.
It was a nice move. Malik Ray came down, parked the bus in front of him, and he very quickly jumped to the middle, took the push from the 22 of Zelensky, and he kept on going. Here's a second look at what happened down the back straightaway and into turn number 3. Look at the big closing rate on the inside. Even if that's your teammate lined up behind you, you just can't get away with a hit like that. And I thought that car was going to go back up and onto the racetrack. You can't hold it on the apron at speed like you can on the banking. We've seen accidents like that turn into huge pileups. Credit goes to Molas for being able to reel that thing in. It's going to cost him a lot of track position, but he lives to fight another lap. Molas got some work to do from the tail end of the leaders. Meanwhile, up front, Zelensky wanted lap number 1, led of the afternoon. He's not going to get it. The outside, the better place to be right now. Ryan, that's that 33 car at Tinsley. Once more, seems to be able to work both lanes pretty comfortably.
Yeah, and it's all the common players up at the front here, right? You got Donovan Strauss, Wyatt Tinsley, Casey Kerwin. These guys are consistently at the front. Bobby Zielinski giving a big shot to Wyatt Tinsley down the back here. These are the guys who are consistently placing themselves at the front of the grid. It's one thing to drop to the back and ride. I get it. I get the strategy. But here in the Coke Series at 70 laps, that is not enough time to sit around and wait. You need your drafting partner. You need these guys to push you to the front and be able to trust your buddies around you.
Oh, trouble there on the inside. That was the 29 that tried to come up the racetrack. There was not space to do so. 39, I should say, of Falkingham. I don't know how that wasn't a wreck. He pulled up, made significant contact with the left rear of Malik Ray, and that one car lucky to stay planted on the ground. Seems like it's like walking through a minefield every lap. There's so many opportunities to make up positions, Kenneth, but at the same time, there are so many opportunities to make a mistake, and that was a close call.
And you'd think with the momentum that Falkingham carried to try and swerve up to the second lane that he would clean Malik Ray down the raceway in the tri-oval, but Malik held on to it wonderfully, and now he's in a hard-fought challenge for the race lead. Just swapped in front of Christopher Hill, the rookie, down the inside, and he's got the lead coming to lap number 32. But look who's manning the outside charge. Colin Bowden, who, by the way, called his shot 2 weeks ago when he talked to us after finishing top 3 at Rockingham, has had a podium finish in 2 of his last 3 Talladega starts, including his rookie campaign back in 2022. Look for Bowden to be as aggressive as always. He'll try and push Malik to the lead out of turn 2.
Looked like he had the opportunity to force a third lane. Instead, stays in line to the one car. He'll push Malik Ray down the Alabama gang back straightaway. Who steps to the line to the inside first? It is the 95 of Parker White. Come on down. He'll go to the inside. The 33 car of Wyatt Tinsley follows. And it's a couple of pairs drafted in the corner. Nice move there. White jumps up top and using that 33 of Tinsley as the means to an end leaves him in the dust. And now White, leader on the outermost lane. He will get lap number 1 led on the afternoon as we are 32 laps down, 38 laps to go here in Talladega. Ray to the bottom. That number 95 car, White can't get down low enough. The inside has the advantage, but for how long?
Yeah, and we just keep seeing it right now. It's a revolving door. The inside lane gets its run, gets the momentum, gets the energy, clears up to the top, and then the top lane holds on for a few laps, and the bottom does it again, and the bottom dies out. So it's a revolving door here. Malik Ray is going to try all he can to block both lanes to protect his position, but it's only a matter of time before that top lane gets to run. That, or if Malik gets just shuffled out of line like he does right here.
At a line and found a spot right on the nose of the 6 car of Bowden there on the outside of the racetrack. They're reunited, maybe not by design. So the 1 car leads the outside, the 95 leads the inside. Aside from when Casey Kerwin led 10 laps earlier, no one's really had an opportunity to lock things down at the front of the field. They continue to trade laps led, and for the first time in a handful of laps, here's a third lane in the battle for the race lead. Malik Ray slides up. He'll bring the 6 about into block. Look at the move by the 22. Zelensky goes bottom to middle, and we are 3 wide for the race lead.
You know how Travis Pastrana, Evan, said that in sim racing there is no fear aspect? Well, this is the example of it. Fearless racing here at Talladega Superspeedway. Zelensky with an insane block to go to the middle and set the Merchant, who found his way to the front calmly with Tucker Minter on the rear bumper. He's going to go to the race lead, but the question is, how long is it going to last? It's going to take at least another 100 feet for another driver to make a move down the inside or maybe even the middle. Outside insane racing that we've seen this evening. And now DeMerchant will be locked out of line. It's Minter to the inside and White to the race lead.
Seth still going to lead the outside, but there's the look out of the front. All the momentum on the inside of the racetrack, that time through the corner. Look at the 89 searching for the run. He knows that Top's going to get the advantage of the banking down the backstretch. So he pulls up, takes over. Now Jordi Lopez leads the effort on the outside of the racetrack. My brain is getting tired, Ryan, just by trying to keep up with all these moves. So from a driver perspective, what's more mentally taxing? Long green flag runs where you're focused on hitting your marks to the thousandth of a second lap by lap, or is it a race like this where it's wide open and everything seemingly is by the seat of your pants, or is the answer both?
The answer is all of the above, and if you think your brain's tired, look at Seth DeMerchant from that onboard. Your brain is consistently making all these adjustments, as we see the Tony Kanaan esports cars running. You got one in the top lane, one in the bottom lane. Vicente Salas currently sitting in the 6th spot. Alexander Russell in 5th, manning the charge in both lanes. But when you're in that spot, your brain switches from one to the other. Seth DeMerchant, he was leading the group. He was trying to hold a steady wheel. All right, I got to get that push. Then he became the pusher. So now he had to be steady on the bumper of Jordi Lopez. So it's a constant back and forth of how hard do I push and how much do I need to be smooth on the wheel to help that guy behind me.
We are past the halfway point in this race as they go 4 wide in the trioval. The one of Malik Ray to the outside of the 47 of Alt. Alt with no drafted help going to drop back eventually. It'll put us to 3 wide, but how long is that going to take as the Sunny D Chevrolet with no help drops back? He will now find a spot in line. There he is. It's going to take a while to get the draft, but damage is done. Alt's going to lose a ton of time. 16th at the start-finish line, 33rd. But the time they came off of turn number 2, he'll drop to the bottom, reset, and try again. We are past halfway in this 70-lap Talladega race. We are inside of our fuel window from this point on. But remember, the field all pitted outside of that number. So whether it be under yellow, courtesy of an accident, or under green, we are still expecting everybody down pit road between now and the checkered.
And you got to think at this point in the race, Evan, how much of the mental balance is trying to be aggressive for track position when you get to strategy, or are you just praying for a yellow flag to fall at some point in this race to where you come down pit road in a really good spot and you can get out and lead the race from there on out? It's been a real game of just raw track position right now, which at this moment can switch from one moment to the next. So it really hasn't been a strategy game yet. It's almost making me think that these guys are thinking the caution is going to come out at some point. Somebody's going to crack, somebody's going to crash, and that'll give us enough chance to come in. Because if we stay green, it will string out this pack considerably, and you'll see a ton of the teammates, alliances or not, come down pit road trying to get a fill on the rest of this thing.
It's not just the Coke Series on Tuesday nights. There's a lot going on in the world of eNASCAR, and some of that is headed to the Kansas Speedway. Drivers from the Kansas City Pioneers, Spire Motorsports, and Vegas Inferno will be at the Kansas Speedway NASCAR race weekend, May 10th through 11th. You can get coaching on iRacing simulators at the NASCAR Experience, participate in weekend autograph sessions, and more. Scan the QR code to buy your ticket to the race weekend today and be a part of the eNASCAR Spring Cup Showcase. Up front, down to the inside line, the 97 of Chucker Minter. First time today, that is the Logitech G Chevrolet for him, is in front of the field. Still 3 wide. Cars headed to pit road this time. Looks like the 6 of Bowden, the first to dive down, and there's about a dozen others down there with him.
You see everybody gets down there nice and clean. The last thing you want to do is get caught up in a stack up, get turned, or even at worst, speed. The last thing you need is to speed down pit road, because if you have that happen, you have to come back down under green and you're going to lose every shot you had at going for this win.
And the key here, Kenneth, is to strike the balance between you want to pit with cars so that when you get off of pit road, you've got a pack to build speed with, but also don't pit with too many cars where it's a little bit dicey on pit road. Talladega, probably the easiest pit road to hit solo. Not quite the case at speed with other cars.
I mean, think about it. When you're going by yourself, it is maybe a 5 to 10 mile an hour difference to when you're in the draft. These guys hit 194 as they were coming off of turn 4. On the brakes, almost everyone in this pack is in, led by Vicente Salas. And it got wild there. Thankfully, no one got into each other, but that's the key. Trying to not speed on pit road.
So as more cars are in for service, want to remind you to join us tomorrow night for the Racing with Raja STEM Invitational. Coverage starting at 8 o'clock p.m. For those who participated in the time attack from March through April, they'll be on track with the NASCAR trucks at Charlotte Motor Speedway and Atlanta Motor Speedway. If you did not participate and want to join the broadcast, feel free to join us on all of iRacing's platforms tomorrow night at 8. It is a virtual program for students aged 13 to 15, offering an immersive look into motorsports with Raja Karuth, as well as learning about physics, vehicle mechanics, AI-driven race strategies, and more with Microsoft Azure tools. So an exciting program. Hope that you join us tomorrow night for that one. I'll be emceeing the event. It's going to be a fun time. 30 laps to go, though, until we wrap up coverage here tonight before we look forward to that one. And still waiting on the top 14 cars to come down pit road. So we've seen a handful of large groups in this one. Ryan, at some of the other racetracks, right, your intermediates we'll talk about, you pit earlier, you're going to get the benefit of tires sooner, the undercuts, the overcuts. I don't know if there's really a cut and drawn example of is it better to pit earlier or later here at Dega. I think it's all who you're coming down with and how good you execute.
Yeah, I was going to say, you hit it right, the nail on the head there. A lot of these guys are probably coming down with their affiliate teammates. These are guys you probably feel a lot more comfortable pitting around each other. As you see, only one car staying out there. Looks like it's Nick Ottinger. He was that car that was a lap down, had that spin with no yellow there, but everybody else getting to pit road clean and green.
That was Zelensky, Busa, Lowe, Alt, DeMerchant, Russell, Minter, Lopez, and Hill down in that cycle. And that's going to leave us with, I think, 6 more drivers who have yet to come down. All drivers who had previously fallen off of the lead pack. So Timothy Holmes, Michael Cozy Jr., Nate Stewart, Jimmy Mullis, and Kwame Scott, the remaining 5 cars who have yet to come to pit road. They are running just a few seconds ahead of this pack, which is the battle for the net race lead. So you'll see the 11 car of Vicente Salas as he follows with the rest of this group, Jordi Lopez and more, on the exit of pit road. Those cars who pitted previously are already at speed. And there you have it. Lopez on the inside gets passed up by Salas, and the earlier pit stop group going to be the ones who went out in this strategy play.
But it's a pretty good spot to be in as you're merging off of turn 2 because you're getting up through the gears, and with how wide Talladega is, even underneath the apron, you can pick up a good amount of speed before you get to that back straightaway and get into turn 3 at full song. So it was a pretty good decision for Lopez and the rest of the competition in that specific group to get right behind, because at this moment they are trailing that single lane pack of cars for the net race lead. And as we watch the trio, or the quartet rather, of Holmes, Cozy Jr., Nate Stewart, and Jimmy Mullis stay out. Good spot for all of those other guys. They can start building momentum in a very long train of cars.
Yeah, 5 cars have yet to pit. Kwame Scott missing from that picture. He's dropped off of this draft and is about a second behind those cars. One more reminder for NASCAR Fan Awards members, tonight's code is DEGA73Q. Make sure you enter that on the NASCAR Fan Awards app and get your points locked in. We encourage you to be doing that with us all season long. So these top 4 have it out there for 24 laps. Again, they are essentially off strategy with everybody else, right? They lost touch to the lead pack through the various chaos. They are not going to be able to go the race distance. They would need 52 laps on fuel to be able to continue from this point on to the end. That is not going to happen. So this seemingly a strategy play, Ryan, maybe, right? Hey, we dropped out of the lead pack. If we pit it on cycle, we're going to be off the lead pack anyways. Are they trying to catch a yellow here? What's the play for these cars?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing here is, like you said, they want to catch a yellow, but at the end of the day, they're going to have to pit, and none of those cars are going to have to, because tire wear, it only matters so much. Yes, having a little bit of fresh rubber is going to make you a lot more comfortable in the draft, but at the end of the day, these guys, they're just trying to play a little bit of a different strategy. I don't know if it's going to really work out for them, because even in that 4-car length train, they're about 4 or 5 tenths off this snarling pack that's coming up on them, so they're going to have some work to do once they make their pit stop.
It'll be interesting to see, Kenneth, when this net lead pack, we'll call it, the battle from what is 5th position on back, catch the leaders. Is that going to be their decision? All right, now it's time to come down pit road. Or do those cars hold the bottom, and how does that complicate the side-by-side battle that we're looking at here? If those cars hold the line, this battle is going to go up to the 2nd and 3rd lanes, could make it more challenging for some of these drivers to make some moves. And looks like that 11 of Sal is already prepping for it. He goes to the outside line as they're about to catch him into turn 3.
Yeah, it was already forced on arrival because Jody Lopez had made the move up top, basically saying, we're going to go for the net race lead, whether you guys like it or not. So they are at most going to have to move up a lane or two, and they are rapidly approaching this pack of 4. And I'd say if you are past this group and this main group gets around, it's got to be your cue to come down pit road at some point, because you know, a caution could come out. It could be the saving grace when you have the benefit of the track position, but you're only a group of 4. You're in a situation where you have to come down pit road, and you're going to be at a loss compared to everyone else because the rest of the group has already clustered up together, and the pack is so big. I guess it seems like they're going to hope for a yellow to fly at some point because Holmes, Cozy Jr., Nate Stewart, and company down low are not willing to stay out of this battle for now. It's deadlocked for the race lead. Salas looking for the jump, entering turn 3, and he may just get it. Casey Kerwin going to push him to the point, entering turn 3 this time.
To the race lead and dropping down in front. The successful pass for the race lead for the 11 of Vicente Salas. And now he and others good to go the race distance, and they have the track position. Well, Garrett Lowe's working on the outside of the racetrack. That's the BS Competition number 99 machine. One of the other drivers on the Sim to Reality Road with a P6 and 7 in his debut weekend in Rome with the NASCAR Euro Series. Brian, you've been able to race a whole lot in the NASCAR ranks, the trucks, the Xfinity, NASCAR Canada, as well as NASCAR Euro, so you know a thing or two about those cars. We'll touch on that in a moment. Caution from behind the race leaders for the second yellow of the night. Femi Olontumbosan is the car that is slow, and will that be a saving grace for Holmes and others?
I'd say it's a bit of a saving grace. I mean, it's going to save them from losing a ton of track position, but overall, I do think it is going to work out okay for them. Now that there is that yellow, they're going to be able to shuffle into a half-decent spot here, so it's going to be interesting how this plays out after they make their pit stops, but definitely going to shake things up here as we get down to these final 23 laps.
The rest of the field out there for 7 laps. They may not be likely to come back down and in, but at least these cars an opportunity to pit under the yellow flag and cycle back in with the race leaders. Well, we've got a caution that's going to bring us inside of 20 laps to go at Talladega. Vicente Salas, your race leader. Can the Kadani Sports Toyota hold it down? It's going to get crazy when we come back.
Welcome to the Proving Ground. Welcome to Metal Crunching. It's all or nothing for 26 weeks of the year. Welcome to the NASCAR Xfinity Series, only on the CW.
Every time you sit behind the wheel, you buckle up for the unexpected. You get ready to take on the competition and brace yourself for the chaos, the speed, the weather, the unknown. But above all, when strapping in, you put trust in yourself, your intuition, making your guide to win, your drive to win.
He's a winner in this.
And nothing is going to stop you from winning.
Welcome to more where that came from. More back-to-backs. More epic last laps.
In hot pursuit.
More stripes. More short fuses. More bumps and bruises.
Go, 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 go. You'll be full wide. They're back behind you.
More Lone Star Showdowns.
That's all you, bro. Proud of you guys.
More Heartland Heartstoppers. Welcome to the edge of your seat. Welcome to NASCAR.
This portion of the broadcast is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official fan refreshment of eNASCAR. Logitech G. Through design, engineering, and a love of driving games, Logitech G takes racing simulation to another level. Logitech G, the official wheel and pedals of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series. And by Sunoco. From fueling your favorite NASCAR teams to filling up at the pump, Sunoco is trusted to help vehicles perform at their peak. Sunoco, performance is what we do.
We're back live at iRacing's virtual Talladega Superspeedway for round 6 of this 2025 eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, and wanted to remind you that the eNASCAR Spring Cup Showcase is headed to the Kansas Speedway Sunday, May 11th. You can scan the QR code and get your tickets. Drivers from the Kansas City Pioneers, Spire Motorsports, Vegas Inferno, all going to be there. And also want you to join us tomorrow night for the Racing with Raja STEM Invitational. This is a virtual program for students aged 13 to 15 that offers them an immersive look into motorsports with Raja Karuth. The full-day experience, which is supported by Microsoft, GM Motorsports, and iRacing, explores STEM concepts through racing, where students can learn about physics, vehicle mechanics, and AI-driven race strategies, all with practical activities using the Microsoft Azure tools. So there was a time attack to qualify in for this event that had gone on over the last couple weeks. So we hope that you join us tomorrow for some NASCAR Truck Series racing for a good cause at the Charlotte Motor Speedway and at Atlanta. Let's wind it back, Kenneth. This happened behind the leaders, the yellow flag number 2 of the day.
Yeah, this was Femi Olatunbosin that set the Merchant right behind him. Tucker Mincher, the tertiary car. These guys had sort of been left away from the rest of this main pack that was building up. And these next-gen cars have curved bumpers at the rear, so if you get a misaligned bump at the high rate of speed you're going, it could rustle the car in front of you and get them loose, and that's exactly what happened with Femi. Got the touch from the Merchant. No intention there, obviously. The bumpers were just misaligned. Going that fast, it sent Femi out of control for the spin, and that's what brings out the yellow. And I'll tell you what, like you said right before we went to break, it was the saving grace for the 4 cars that had stayed out up until that point. They made the trip down pit road, and now it's everybody 25th on back that made their way in just for reassurance, either damage control or an extra splash of fuel just to make sure they can get to the end with 20 laps to go. So a good sign for them. Now they just have to push forward and try to gain all that track position back.
And it seems crazy for all of the madness that we survived through this one, Ryan, that's how easy it is to have a yellow come out. But to Kenneth's point about the bumpers, it's hard to defeat physics.
Yeah, and at that point, those guys, they were just pushing. They were pushing as hard as they could to at least keep up as best they could, have that good speed so that they're not losing too much time overall. They weren't with the pack, but they didn't want to lose time. And when you're going and you're giving those heavy shots like that, we saw it right there. That's how bad that misaligned bumper can really cause a problem.
Well, now everybody on the same strategy and good with fuel to the end of this race. Salas, Kerwin on the front row, green flag in the air, 19 laps to go in Talladega. Small advantage to the inside. Salas pulls up quick as they get through the gears and up to speed. 1 car to the outside. That's that 3rd lane, the 99 car at Garreau. So far, no dancing partners.
And this is the transition point of the race. You've got pit road strategy dealt with. You are not concerned about fuel to make it to the very end of this race. There's 20 laps to go at the stripe. Now you got to say, go, go, go. We've seen crazy racing already through the pack in the first segment of the event, but now it's really going to ramp up. Here comes Daniel Falkingham with the switch down low of Casey Kerwin and Vicente Salas. It's Logan Clampett, who was involved in the first yellow of the race, trying to make a move up high. Salas with the block. Falkingham looks to the middle. Daniel Falkingham to the race lead, coming to 18 remaining.
Salas went high to throw the block, but he went too high, and the undercut was the number 39 at Daniel Falkingham, who gets his first lap led, 52 laps complete into this Talladega Superspeedway race. Now the inside has the advantage. Look at Kerwin, the Coca-Cola Chevrolet. He jumps up from 4th in line. The one of Malik Ray follows suit. And what do you do as the 2-car breakaway on the bottom? It is Clampett and Falkingham, 2 drivers who we've seen in the College Series this year, alone together, but they will not work as one unit. Clampett goes high, shuts the door with a big block on Casey Kerwin, and dropping it back on the inside is Falkingham. He'll get picked up by Keister, now jumping to the outside lane as a couple of cars below the double yellow getting squirrely off before.
Yeah, it looked like Tyler Gary back there getting sideways off there. Might have to take another look at that, but a lot of big stack-ups here. This is where everybody's on that go. They are pushing as hard as they can. They don't care that they're the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th car in line. They are on the rear bumper of that next car ahead of them, and they have only one goal, and that is to get to the front. And Logan Clampett is really holding charge right now. He's the only one I've seen really control the lanes like he has.
Here's a second look at what happened. It was tail end of the lead pack. A bit of a move out of line, not clear for the 69 machine. Sideways and a save for Gary. Meanwhile, up front, they're doing their best to replicate it. Late block for the 42 of Clampett. He is getting a big push by the 89 car, Lopez. And Lopez to the outside is going to get the support from the one of Malik Ray. Not much you can do, but Malik Ray's on your bumper. One of the most aggressive drivers in this series. Giving it everything he's got to put the 89 Lopez up in front. Now, does the one go for the undercut? Yes, he does. He'll stop in the middle lane. He wants the push from Clampett. 3 abreast for the race lead. 16 laps to go. It is on in Talladega.
And you can see at the front of this field some of the usual suspects from Daytona, and there's a crash. Vicente Salas tussled in the midst with Brian LaPrade in a tertiary car that was involved. Caution flag out once again, and it was at the back of the field we saw the similar situation with Tyler Gary and company off of turn 4. This time it's off turn 2. Salas, who was the lead pack and the net race lead at one point, now spun, entering 16 laps to go.
Another incident where my first thought is could have been a lot worse. Salas gets some right front damage into the fence, but we have yet seen the big one here in Talladega. Most of these accidents, a couple of cars here and there. This one centered with the number 11 of Salas and the 97 of Tucker Minter. They were running 27th and 28th respectively. They were just at the tail end of our shot, and this is like a bad merge on the freeway. Ryan, I mean, I don't know how you avoid this one. They both go to the middle lane at the same time. They had the same idea with no clue that the other car was going to do the same thing.
Yeah, and that's just a tough situation there. 2 cars going for the exact same spot. They both had the exact same idea. I want the middle lane. Let me get to the middle lane. And, well, it just seemed like they couldn't coordinate that one out. It's just a tough situation there. We've seen it happen so many times on Sundays, and it happens here just as much on iRacing. And right there, you see Tucker Minter getting sideways on the apron there. Oh, that's Ottinger. That's Nick Ottinger again. Nick Ottinger getting caught up in another incident. That's the bad luck continues for Ottinger.
It was Alexander Russell on the bottom who went low to avoid the wreck. There it is, late in that one. You had the couple of cars that were in it. Russell goes low to avoid the accident, but gets caught out by the inside wall, jettisoning it out. That's one of the exits for the safety vehicles. That bounced him up and into Nick Ottinger. So those were 2 cars involved late in that accident, make it about 5 cars with damage total all around. And once more, we will slow things down, and it'll take a big chunk out of the laps to go out of this race. We'll be looking to restart somewhere in the range of about 12 or 11 laps to go.
And at this point, Evan, you got to think overtime is in the cards. Last season, we raced this all the way to the final attempt at green, white, checkers, and we ended the race under yellow. So, I mean, we just got to see what happens here. But take a look at all these picks. Tucker Minter, who's led a couple laps, is at the front. I think Allen had a pretty good pick with Parker White at the front. But, hey, Ryan, I think you've got it. I think the comeback is imminent right now. Casey Kerwin in the race lead.
I was about to say, I hope Allen's watching this and quaking in his boots right now, because this super duper speedway race here is shaking the field up quite a bit. And Casey Kerwin, he's been basically, him and Malik Ray have been practically inseparable tonight, whether they're in the back of the pack, the middle of the pack, or the front of the pack. And we see it there. Casey Kerwin first, Malik Ray third. They're going to line up right next to each other on this restart. Those 2 guys, I feel, have the most control of this race. Nobody has complete control, but I think those 2 guys right there have definitely kind of made their presence known in tonight's race.
Well, Ryan, I want to jump back to you for this one because, you know, as Casey Kerwin, the leader, is there any legitimate, concrete strategy you can implement here to control the field up front, or is it you're looking in that virtual mirror and you're trying to make that car super wide?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is like we talked about earlier, working with your teammate, right? I know Malik and Casey aren't teammates necessarily, but they work together a lot. So work with each other. If one of you needs to go in front of the other, go ahead and swap each other. Go ahead and take that move to the inside. Just when you get clear of me, get back up in front. Let's work together. So it's going to be really important to watch what those two make as we get down to these final laps.
Bobby Zalenski looking for his first oval win since March of 23 at Richmond, and James Pike is with him on the radio.
Bobby Zalenski with a strong run up to this point, runner-up here at the moment, but a lot of cars still in this race, a lot that could still happen. So how do you manage the track position, Bobby, and try and go for the win while also making sure that you don't put yourself in a bad spot?
Yeah, I mean, it's, as you all have seen all race, it's quite random, but it is very much determined by when the pusher of a given line it gets hot. So trying to predict that, you can then predict where the momentum is going to be. But sometimes it's kind of impossible to predict because people are moving lane up and down the track and aggressive stuff. I've been aggressive. I'm probably going to cause a wreck by accident, but just by being aggressive. But that's what this race is all about, right?
Could only get even crazier as we get towards the end of it.
He's in contention. That's what matters late in these Talladega races. Well, you take a look back at the Talladega trends that we talked about on Countdown to Green. Zalenski, the only winner to make the championship 4. That is of 5 of 17 super speedway winners all time that have been able to make it to the championship 4. So he has been able to find success here at Dega and turn that into long-term success. Can Bobby Zalenski punch yet his additional ticket to the playoffs? Seems like he is basically the free space when you build your playoff grid. So it is interesting to see, how he's been able to find success here at Talladega when other drivers who have won here may not have necessarily been able to get all the way to that final spot. So lights out on the pace car. This will bring us to a restart coming to 12 laps to go in this race. Still time for a couple more yellows and a couple more restarts before we have to talk about the O word, but overtime always lingers over things late in these super speedway races. Kerwin on the bottom. It is Zalenski on the outside. That 24 car was able to get a 1 car length jump. The leader last time, I should say, on the bottom, able to get a 1 car length jump. They immediately went to the outside. So if you're that 24 Kerwin, curious to see what the strategy is. Malik Ray is going to push super aggressively behind you. He's not going to be shy about that. Do you want him on the bumper, or do you look to make a move to the outside to find Zalenski? And that third lane, look at it. It's so tantalizingly open right now. Who makes the first move up there as they send it off and into the corners? 58 laps down, 12 laps to go. Green flag back in the air.
And watch that stack up from the 5th car on back for both lanes. It definitely worked for those guys on the inside, given that Kerwin has the discretion to bring the field back under green. It's Zalenski and the rest of the field on the outside's possibility to react and get themselves back to full song. Here comes Rockingham, move up high with Ray and Kerwin to block the move from Zalenski up high. Warman's going to lead it through the inside, and here comes Logan Clampett. Wants the middle, but he's got no help. He's through the sucker hole.
No help for the College Series champ. He's going to drop all the way outside of at least the top 15. Up front now, the 39 of Falkenham went from the outside to the inside. He now wants to lead the bottom. He's got the number 50 machine of Quentin Warman on his bumper. The rookie who started this race on pole position in career start number 6, looking for race win number 1. He is in this contest with 11 to go.
Man, but you look at Casey Kerwin and Malik Ray, they executed that restart to perfection. Malik Ray just rolled to the rear bumper of Casey. It gave him a big shot right as Casey needed to get back to the throttle, so it worked out beautifully for them. They cleared themselves to the top, but Daniel Falkenham, with help from Quentin Warman, they are locked and loaded on the bottom lane, and they are pushing themselves forward and probably going to clear themselves by the time they get to turn number 3.
Equal cars inside and out, and as that upper lane comes down, it shuts the door on Blaze Crawford and Jordy Lopez. They had a whole lot of speed in the middle, but when the outside came down on them, they ran out of real estate. Once again, we see a 2-car breakaway up front. It's Warman chasing the draft of Falkenham, but they've got nothing for the speed from behind. Kerwin with a big run until he lost his help. It was guaranteed, and now we're going to wad him up in turn 1, Bowden into the fence, and maybe finally at lap 61 we see a big one.
Yeah, that is the biggest crash of the night And we knew it was going to happen at some point, Evan, but it took out many here with 9 laps to go as they were getting ultra aggressive. And you saw a bit in the tail end of that run right before the yellow flag came out. A ton of distance from the first pack to everybody in the secondary group. They were just starting to get their momentum, rallied back. They were just about 4 wide faintly, and that's where Bowden, who had nowhere to go, tried to move up in front of the hard-charging Jordi Lopez. And then just like we talked about with the Femi Olatunbosun situation, curved bumpers, high rate of speed in checkups probably do not help the cause. It gets him right into the wall, and it gets almost everyone involved in the accident entering turn 1.
And those were cars inside of the top 10 with legitimate chances to win this race that are going to get torn up. And again, we had said yellow after yellow, hey, we got away with one here, but not this time. Big wreck takes out some of the fastest drivers in the field, and maybe not quite 2 cars going for the same piece of real estate, but just a hole closing up a little bit too quick for that 6 machine. The replay will show it best, Ryan. There was definitely room for the 6 of Bowden when he pulled up off the bottom. The problem is about a quarter second later when he got there, that hole had been filled. That 89 of Lopez, the nose was there. And this late in the race, you're not going to get guys slamming on the brakes and checking up for you.
Yeah, and we saw the field begin to kind of check up here. We got a good look right here. Jordi Lopez in the middle there. We're going to see what happens here. Colin Bowden on the inside. He's going to try and find his way to the top lane here. He's too slow with it. He hesitates right there on the bottom lane. He gets up a lane, thinks about it, and then goes. He needed to make that move so much quicker. He got up and hesitated, and that's the last thing you need to do. When you need to make that move, you go for it. Right here, we're going to see a perfect shot of it. He comes up and not clear. The whole field piles in. Blake McCandless, unfortunately, one of those cars involved. He's involved, but I would consider this being pretty much through it. Yeah, good job, Blake.
Could be worse. We've seen cars not make it through the quarter after being in a wreck, so I think I'd take that over the alternative. Watch the bump right there. There was a last-second bump from the 62 car, and that's not putting any blame on Busa. Busa's full throttle, the 199 of Duval's full throttle. Maybe if that bit of a slam draft doesn't happen at that moment, there's just enough time for the 6 to get there, but that bump just put the 89 on the quarter panel when that 6 car pulled up, and they were off from there. Several, again, top contenders in this race involved in the accident, many of them coming to pit road. It includes cars who have led laps in this race, like DeMerchant, Tinsley, White, Lopez, and more. And now again, that was coming to 10 laps to go in this race. The yellow's going to take another chunk of about 3 or 4 laps out of this race, inching us ever closer to our scheduled distance.
Yeah, with the situation like that, there are so little laps to go. You're trying to push as much as you can. And if you're in the second, third position in a line of cars, you're like Denzel Washington, the Book of Elijah. You're just moving blind in the middle of the pack, trying to figure out what to do. And as we get a look at the front, Christopher Hill has got a word with James Pike.
Christopher Hill representing Apex Racing, currently running in the 3rd spot. Christopher, your teammates a little bit further back in this field, so you're sort of on your own at least to start this restart. Do you have any sort of strategy as to how you're going to attack these last few laps?
Just same game plan we've gotten through the whole race. I mean, we started shotgun on the field basically and just kind of made moves, try to hold track position. So, I mean, these first 3 or 4 laps after the restart, just got to try to stay semi in this position, don't want to lead coming to the last lap or 2, so kind of minimal risk, try to hold on to top 3, 4, 5 spots here, so that way we're in the contention on the last lap here.
And with all the chaos that could unfold, Evan and Kenneth and Ryan, there's a very real opportunity, I think, for Chris to sort of shoot the gap, figuratively speaking, and end up with a good run.
And maybe literally speaking, we'll see how these opportunities present themselves. How about the rookie stripes? Up front, we talked about Quinton Warman earlier as the rookie getting career pole number 1. You've got the Apex Racing Team rookie and Christopher Hill right there in the number 3 position. Talladega being the great equalizer, we mentioned at the top of the show as well. This is the first fixed setup race of the season, so technical alliances, teams, manufacturers, none of that matters. Everybody driving with a completely equal car, and the young talent, Ryan, showing out right now.
Yeah, and that's going to be the big thing here. You mentioned it. All these young drivers really want to make sure that they put themselves at the front of the field because, yeah, there's bragging rights. Yes, there's looking good for, moving forward, getting into that next seat, hopefully for next year, the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. But at the same time, it's a potential playoff berth. Yes, you have to be in that top 20 in points at the end of the season. Like we saw Wyatt Tinsley, he won the season opener last year, missed the playoffs for not being in that top 20. But if these guys are able to put some points on the table, get a good run, and lay down some consistent runs later on in the season, Evan, I think this is a good opportunity for some of these guys to sneak their way into that playoff picture.
It really is, and it's a good opportunity for us to say hi to our friends at Coca-Cola, the official fan refreshment of eNASCAR. You can see the Coca-Cola colors on the Kansas City Pioneers, number 24 of Casey Kerwin, and lined up right behind him in line, it is the Team Dillon Esports Coke Zero Sugar, number 3 of Blaze Crawford. Another one of the drivers with the rookie stripes up front in contention to make some noise in this one. So there's some good-looking Coca-Cola Chevys lined up on the outside line. So we hit the reset button and we try it again, Kenneth. We'll be coming to a restart with only 6 laps to go.
And this is where the chaos is going to ring up. I mean, you talk about the 3 rookies. They're hungry for a first-ever Coke Series win. But think of the man leading this race back to the green flag. Daniel Falkingham had been in a position like this at Talladega earlier on in his career. Could not get the win, but he put himself in the position. This time he wants to avenge himself with a win at a track that's eluding him for a little bit with 6 laps to go.
Could this be the final restart of the night? I would bet the over, but there's one way to find out. Coming to 6 laps to go, Daniel Falkingham and Quentin Warman are the duo on row number 1. Green flag in the air. It's another advantage to the drivers on the bottom, making it a car length and a half. Falkingham leads to turn number 1. No space for Hill. Second in line down low to go up top. So it's a drag race. Second on back. Falkingham's got to pick a lane out of turn 2.
Oh, and we got a bit of a stack up at the front. Those guys, they're checking up. Falkingham, they caught him at such a high rate of speed. They weren't ready for it. Casey Kerwin stuck in the sucker hole here. He's going to get picked up by Logan Clampett.
Big check up in the middle lane. Oh, now the outside. Trouble sideways. Couple of cars around. Yellow flag will fly. They're going to continue to stack them up as they go through the corner. More drivers involved. Bowden and others down in the grass. Eddie Kerner was one of the drivers sideways into the outside wall. Looks like also Cody Bias, the second of the Apex Racing cars. He got a bit of that one too, and this will push us to the brink.
Yeah, with that, everyone being aggressive with the move from a couple of the drivers to move up to that tertiary lane, it just resulted in a huge stack up, and we'll get the secondary look and see exactly how things all unfolded. Right around where Steven Wilson, Eddie Kerner, Tyler Gary were, and that's really the heart of the incident, is them stacking up in a single line of cars, everyone pushing each other. Someone's got to slow down, so it backs up everybody in the cars, maybe 6th or 7th on back, and that creates a huge domino effect. We'll try and see exactly how it all started, but take a look at the number 77 car, the Spire Motorsports Chevrolet. At the top end of your screen, that's Steven Wilson. He'll get checked up here from the likes of Brian Luza and company against Eddie Kerner. And then right about there, the bumpers misaligned because they're just getting sandwiched together. Tyler Gary gets the push to Kerner. Then Wilson gets turned. Then Kerner goes down the racetrack into Clampett, into Scott. And then up the speedway goes basically everyone else. Here's a look at Graham Boland for the Kansas City Pioneers. He had a crazy look at this one, getting through the first bit and swerving around Clampett. Beautiful avoidance by Boland.
And at a first look, I thought it was the checkup in the middle, Ryan, that causes all of this. But upon replay, I mean, Kerwin does check up the middle lane, but seemingly that was just the outside stacking up on their own.
Well, it looked like the stack up started up front with Falkingham getting hit by Warman. They get knocked out of line, and that checks up that whole front row. And Blaze Crawford, he gets into the back of Warman, and that just continues that accordion effect all the way back through the field. It's kind of like bingo. The free space word of the day is stack up. And that is kind of what's been happening all throughout the field all night long, and this was just the culmination of it all. The first guy in line, Quentin, causes that stack, and the rest of it's history.
What a close call there as Zach Novak finds a gap somehow, some way. Here's another look as the middle checked up and then the outside checked up. That accordion effect ends right there as the 5th car in line gets spun. 69 to machine into the fence. That's a decent bit of damage for Gary. Also involved in that one, Briar LaPrade. That car will get through, I think, with no more than a little bit of bodywork damage. But now's the point in the race where, again, not all the cars are necessarily clean anymore. You're hoping to fight through with some battle scars. Even your race leader, I think, has got a little bit of damage on the front of that car. Kenneth, of course, not all damage created equal. Want to remind everybody to keep up to date with the series standing schedule and more. Visit us at eNASCAR.com. You know, if you have back-end damage, it may affect someone's ability to push you, but you may be a better car leading a line. If you've got that front-end damage, though, it may be challenging for Christopher Hill to lead a charge and be the first car in a line.
Yeah, it'll be tough, but the biggest key to all of it, Evan, is just staying on the racetrack. How many times have we seen, even when the white flag is displayed, when all bets are off and no cautions will be thrown from there on out? If you survive that final trip around the speedway, you get to the line and everybody wrecks ahead of you or behind you, you know, that could be gained track position just by staying out there. So just because you have damage does not mean you're done for in this race unless it's big suspension damage or not. But for the most part, all these guys just got to figure out what they're going to do. Is Malik texting there?
It's a caution flag. It's a time to unwind a little bit and kind of reset yourself. And his webcam is also his phone, so he's texting. Other drivers, Malik looks like he's having a good time. Some other drivers are texting in the driver chat, and they're mad at each other. They're not having a good time in doing so. So whoever Malik has texted, at least he's having a fun time with it. I mean, he's P3, right? I mean, he's in a great spot. What's not to like at Talladega? The twist to that is there's no guarantee, Ryan, that just because you're third late means you're going to get a good result. But I guess you'd happier be running third than 33rd this late in the race.
Yeah, it's a lot more comfortable when you're sitting up at the front than it is at the tail. And Malik Ray, he's one of those players that's consistently at the front. He's always battling for the win here at these super speedway races. And we've seen it at Atlanta. We've seen it at Daytona. And once again, we are seeing it here tonight. And there it is. Malik, you can put the phone down. He's locked in. Got the gloves on. He's ready. He's focused. He's locked in. He's ready to go. And I think if he has another one of those restarts like he did with Kerwin to the back of Hill, I think that's going to be what really makes the difference here as we get to this natural green-white checkered here, Evan.
It will be. It is not going to extend the race distance, so this is a regulation restart attempt, but it will be a green-white checker. We'll come around to take the green flag. The next time around will be the white flag. If we can get an entire 2.66 laps in, then this race will end the next time by at the checker, no matter what happens on the racetrack. If we do not get to the white flag to make this race official, then we will officially head into eNASCAR overtime. But it's de facto attempt number 1 of 4, we'll call it. Same rules apply. And I think if you're Christopher Hill and Bobby Zalenski, we talked about trying to make these cars wide, Kenneth. It is going to be awfully difficult to fend off everybody the way these runs have been coming.
And it's a challenge for a rookie, a driver who's in his first ever Coke Series season, and he's got the opportunity of a lifetime to go for the win, but he's got to play a lot of defense. And usually on the 2 lap to go white flag marker of the race, you usually don't want to be that leader coming off of turn 4 because you're at the mercy of whatever happens in your rearview mirror. But these two Chevrolets are going to try to keep themselves pointed at the front with the final 2 laps right ahead. This one's going to get wild.
Could it be the last time the pace car dives down it in tonight, coming to 2 laps to go as Barney stands at the ready? Christopher Hill on the inside, Bobby Zalenski on the outside. Still 37 cars on the lead lap going for it. Green flag in the air. 2 laps to go in Talladega. Advantage on the bottom. It is Hill. Car length to turn number 1. Where does he go as they build up speed? Malik Ray second in line down low. Still Zalenski leading the top side. They're going to get a big run up top coming off of turn 2.
And now here comes Malik Ray, swerve up high. He's got Zalenski in tow, and that's a big move. Down the back straightaway, you get a lot of momentum down the 33 degrees of banking. They're going to beat Christopher Hill in the run-up to turn 3, but remember, they may even out. Tertiary line building up with the 8 car of Blake McCandless, but Malik Ray, who's going to go back-to-back, or at least going to try to at the super speedways with Atlanta and Dega this year, going to lead them to the white, but how long does it last? Here comes Zalenski to the white flag, to the inside.
Zalenski gets underneath him. White flag is in the air. This race is official. Crawford into the outside wall. They're holding on. Now they're wrecking in turn 1. Race leader Zalenski pushed by Hill coming to turn 2.
The energy is completely dissipated from the back. You have Daniel Rockingham now. He has a big push coming from Malik Ray. That's going to be the group. It's a 3-car group there. They're going to have the biggest run heading down the backstretch here. Do they have enough energy to catch them? I think they will.
Falkenham pushed by Ray, certainly going to look to the outside. They do. Half a block makes them lose a little bit of momentum. Here comes the 199 car. Big push on the inside. Zelensky, the leader. Who's got something for him? He'll hold the bottom. No! He gets pushed out of line. Zelensky blocks. 2-car spin. One last-ditched effort. He holds the inside. And Bobby Zelensky holds them all at bay to win at Talladega.
I cannot believe that Bobby Zelensky was able to hold on to that. You had a snarling pack of cars. Yes, it was a dissipated pack for sure, but you had a couple really strong cars. You had Malik Ray absolutely charging with Falkingham at his tail. They were pushing as hard as they could, but Bobby Z was able to block and make the moves. And we see it here. Bobby Z, he makes the block to the middle. Christopher Hill has nowhere to go. He can't go to the inside. He knows he has to push Bobby Z. He's left with no other option. Daniel Falkingham, he gets a big shot from Malik Ray going down this front stretch here, and Bobby Z blocks. He squeezes to the bottom, and I don't know if he cleared himself or just got hooked, but a lot of contact coming to the line.
Clear enough, and Malik Ray tries to go to the outside late, Kenneth. I thought Bobby was done when he came off of 4 and ended up on that 3rd lane, and at that point, he's probably only mirror driving to get to the end of it. This winning moment is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official fan refreshment of eNASCAR, as Bobby Zelensky gets race win number 1 in 2025. It is career race win number 17, which ties him with Ryan Luza for 3rd on the all-time series wins list. Let's take a look at your Coca-Cola move of the race, Kenneth. There is no doubt the 2-lap run to the end inside of regulation, chaos in turns 1 and 2, and he was able to hold them all off for the final lap.
You know, a lot of times at super speedways, Evan, we think about moves that are offensive. This was all defensive. Zelensky had to look in the rearview mirror and wait and wait and wait. Almost thought that Falkingham and Malik would have a big run out of turn 4, but they could not get to the outside of Zelensky, who puts the block. Falkingham splits the middle. He gets shut down. Hill and Falkingham go sliding through the grass. And by then, it's just trying to hold on as they try to decide who's going to be second, catching up to Zelensky at the line. In the rough, he's like a real diamond. Bobby Zelensky getting another win here at Talladega Superspeedway. Outstanding job to hold off the field.
And another season with a race win, potentially now another season with a trip to the playoffs. Zelensky, a perennial title contender, and that does not change in the year 2025. Let's take a look at your full race results tonight from Talladega. It is the ERA Esports Team 22 of Bobby Zelensky gets the win for team boss Jesse Wuji and company, alongside Malik Ray to the outside, P2 at the stripe, and Duval to the inside, 3rd at the stripe for last year's winner in the Channel 199 Sim Racing Team Toyota. Warman, Strauss, your top 5, Kerwin, Wilson, Mullis, Falkingham, and Guest in the top 10.
And then everyone further back, you see everyone 11th on through. I mean, these are the drivers that either were involved in the biggest crash of the night or just somehow ended up at the white flag, skipping to the grass. That includes Christopher Hill. You see Parker White there in the top 15, Tyler Gary and Logan Clampett back there for 19th and 20th. We are joined now by the 2-time Talladega Superspeedway winner of all time, Bobby Zelensky, joining us now. Bobby, you've had a wild season. 2nd at Interlagos, a pair of finishes that didn't go your way, but tonight you stayed defensive and it mattered the most at the end. How rewarding is a victory like this, and what are the feelings right now?
It's fantastic. That's my 3rd plate win. You're lucky enough to get 1 in this series at a plate track, and I have 3. It's kind of crazy. Mainly, this is a big relief because I was really upset I didn't win Interlagos because it's such a good chance, and I really want to race for a championship. So getting that ticket from winning Talladega is fantastic. It's great to get Fairlife Core Power into victory lane because ever since they came on the car, we have had amazing cars every week, and maybe some bad decisions by me and just getting some bad luck since we've had them on board. But we had luck with us today, and so saying in the interview, I'm going to be aggressive, and there on the last lap, I overcommitted a little bit in the tribal, going for the block. And then, I think Falkingham got into me a little bit, and I just made that car as wide as possible, kept it straight, and I yelled when I won. Because anytime you win like Talladega, it could be C6, it could be a league race. Like, it don't matter what level you're racing at. It is like the most hype thing, right? It is so just energy, because you just so much is out of your hands. Woo, we won Talladega, baby.
I know Jesse Uji, team owner, is going to be super happy about that. You get the first ever win for the ERA Esports team, so that's a big-time accomplishment. Bobby, congrats on the win here from Talladega. Go on and celebrate.
Thanks, boys. Love talking to you guys.
Bobby Zelensky holds on in the final lap to win at the virtual Talladega Superspeedway. We are now joined by 9th place finisher Daniel Falkingham. Daniel, I know on the white flag lap you're going to give it all that you got, and you've been in a situation like this before at this very racetrack. Talk to us about what you're trying to see in those final situations and what your emotions are after this. Oh, Daniel, I think you might be muted on Discord.
Oh, sorry. I forgot I muted myself. My bad. But no, I feel like I positioned myself really well, especially getting through that, they all wrecked coming to the white, and we cleared that, and there was only like 10 of us racing for the win up there, however many there was. And once we all got spread out going to turn 1, I saw like Chris and Bobby were out there. I feel my best bet was to drag back to Malik, because I know Malik would push me back up there to get to those guys, and it worked out perfectly. And then made my move into 3, got to the outside of, I believe it was Chris. And that put me right in the perfect position to go for the win, because I knew we'd have the slingshot off 4, because we had the side draft on those guys on the bottom. And we had the run off 4, or I had the perfect push off 4. Bobby went up the block. He went up a little too high. I shot for the middle, which was going to work. But I don't know if Bobby just slightly came down. I could have maybe ran a little bit lower looking back at the replay. But like, it's just so hard to judge how close you are to one another coming down to the end of these things. But I mean, it's so gut-wrenching, man. Daytona and now this, we are in a spot to win going in through 3 and 4, and we get shafted again. So, nah, man, it's heartbreaking, man, because I've been so close, like I said, at Daytona, now here, and just friggin' be on the bad side of it. It sucks.
It's a little bittersweet, top 10, but obviously not the finish you wanted there at the end. But Daniel, still a great effort. Congratulations on the top 10, and we'll see you guys in about a month's time at Charlotte.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Got shout out Six Karma, shout out all those guys, and shout out to Malik for giving me the shove and he on the last lap. Without him, I wouldn't have been up there.
That's Daniel Falkingham, Evan, coming home in the top 10. That's P9 after the whole entire situation coming to the start-finish line.
Hey, we appreciate their time. More driver interviews coming your way in just a little bit on the Sunoco post-race report. Let's jump back in, take a look at the rest of tonight's full race results. 21st through 30th position on screen right now. Christopher Hill, Wyatt Tinsley, some of the names who we talked about at other points in this race. They find themselves in amongst the crowd. Connor Urashak, Brian LaPrade, and Ryan Luzik. And most of these drivers involved in some way or another in that last lap wreck.
Yeah, and at this point, I mean, you just got to bear with the finish that you have. I mean, several big names down here. Nick Ottinger, his struggle of a season continues in 2025. 32nd, Colin Keister, Vegas winner, 33rd. Blake McCandless, who rolled off 40th on the grid and moved up to the front a couple of times. He's 35th among the batch of cars that are a lap down or more. And then obviously those who got the brunt of the damage in those last several incidents, Eddie Kerner, Femi Olatunbosa, Vicente Salas, and Alexander Russell bring the end of the 40-car field from Talladega. Spares no mercy.
Not a fan is team boss Tony Kadan, but that is super speedway racing. An unfortunate end for those two. And it is going to be a couple of weeks off as we have a de facto summer break, and then we return for our second intermediate race of the season. And it's right in NASCAR's backyard, Ryan. Next time out, we head to the Charlotte Motor Speedway for the longest intermediate race we have on the calendar with 160 laps.
Absolutely. Charlotte Motor Speedway put on an absolute thriller of a finish last season, and I expect this race to put on a very similar show here next time. This track is very wide. The groove widens out as the tires wear, so it's such a fun race to watch. Not only is it fun to drive, it's fun to watch. So it's going to be an absolute blast to tune in and be a part of the podcast going down there with Countdown to Green.
And of course, we talked about Zach Novak, the segment 1 champ. Well, segment number 2, shortest on the calendar, only 4 weeks, so points going to be critical. You don't have to wait until next month until there is more iRacing NASCAR action. I want to remind you one more time to tune in with us tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time for the Racing with Raja STEM Invitational. A big fan and a big thanks to everybody at GM Motorsports, Microsoft, and more for putting together a fun and educational night. And we hope that you join us right here on the iRacing channels for that one. Well, until next time, that is going to be it for us here tonight from Talladega. On behalf of our entire team at iRacing, NASCAR, and your broadcast crew tonight, for James Pike, Alan Cavana, Ryan Vargas, Kenneth Bueno, and myself, Evan Pasoko, want to say thanks for tuning in with round number 6 in the rear view mirror. We are back in a couple of weeks' time, not until Tuesday, May the 20th, from iRacing's virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway. That race and every race of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series can be found right here on the iRacing Esports Network. Don't forget to stay tuned. The Sunoco post-race report is next. Good night from Talladega, and congratulations to Bobby Zelensky.
Good evening and welcome to the Sunoco post-race report for tonight's eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series event at Talladega Superspeedway. James Pike alongside Keenan Goosen and Justin Melillo. And Keenan, I feel like that was a little bit of a different Talladega race. Just to start off, that first like 3 quarters, we had a few yellows that sort of broke it up a bit. And then the last 12 laps were just the pure chaos that we've come to know and expect from Talladega.
Yeah, it seems like, no pun intended on the name of our pole sitter, Quentin Warman. Seems like there was a bit of a ceasefire for the first little half of that race. Everyone realized they needed to get to the end, and then gloves were well and truly off on the last 12 laps. Unfortunately, we did not get the overtime curse, but still a lot of fireworks there at the end.
My hand is still on my face from the ceasefire pun. That's like my level bad, Keegan.
Don't worry, there will be more.
Oh, yes. Okay, awesome. Justin, what did you think of things here? I thought if there's one thing that stood out to me from like a more racing perspective, it's just how hard it was to get everybody to line up pushes and how not square a lot of these bumps were.
They were racing wild out there. We saw a lot of 3-wide, 4-wide action, James. I'm really excited to get to pick some of these drivers' brains on what went into some of the moves that they did out there tonight.
We got Malik Ray in here for Vegas Inferno. He's our first driver this evening in the Sunoco post-race report. Comes up with P2. Malik, a lot of times in these sorts of situations, you've been the person getting the push. So what was tonight like as you were sort of the pushy trying to get somebody to the win? You might be muted. You might be muted on here as well.
Professional broadcaster, by the way.
My fault.
It's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
I was just trying to stay committed to Dan on the white flag, and up out of turn 4, I think him and Bobby just met in the middle there, and then after that, I was just out there. I didn't have any help at that point, so I was just trying to just side draft my other teammate on the inside, and I was able to get P2 from him. So I can't complain too much, to be honest with you.
Justin, what do you think? And I know you always have a good thought here too.
I just want to know how you keep doing this, Malik. How do you keep ending up at the front of these fields at every single super speedway type style racing that we do?
I just have like a really good awareness for it, I guess. I feel like I know everyone and how they drive, and I just try to use it, up to the best that I can. And it got me another, I guess another top 5. So I'm pissed that I got second, but at the same time, I mean, I could have got 30 seconds, so I can't really, I can't really be too mad.
I just want to back up Justin's statement there with a little bit of data, because I think this is patently just absurd given the nature of plate racing. But at Daytona and Talladega in the Coke Series, in the last 3 seasons, Malik's track record of finishes reads like this: 7th, 2nd, 3rd, 6th, and 3rd. And that's just at Daytona and Talladega. There was the win in Atlanta too. So Keenan, like, how you beating this man's consistency at a plate track?
I don't think you are, to be honest. I mean, nobody else has that record like me, so I'm just being honest. I just feel like I'm one of the best at it, and that's why I keep putting myself in position. But I mean, I just got to figure out, how to close them out sometimes is all.
Keenan, I know you have thoughts. I know you have thoughts here.
So just as a reminder, everybody, we are taking questions from our Twitch chat. Go ahead and post anything in there if you'd like to ask any one of these drivers questions. Question from, I don't know, I've never seen this name, Vegas Vegas Inferno. How does that jersey feel? And on top of that, Malik, what's it like representing Vegas this year?
I'd say they're a really cool group of people, and they're all super involved, and they have their own host parties and stuff where they watch the races. They really take good care of me and Michael Guest. So I couldn't be any happier. I'm really happy that I'm here. And this jersey is quite nice. It's quite nice. But if y'all can see it, it's very nice. It's sensational, actually.
So to James's point, we see you do a lot of super speedway racing at your own social channels, which if you didn't know, you could follow Campaign Ray on twitch.tv right now. How do you balance, especially streaming the race, to kind of interact with your chat and still be a streamer, but also obviously focusing on the task at hand?
I'd say for the Coke races, I don't really entertain the chat. I'd say at all. Under yellow, I'll talk to them and stuff. But I mean, as far as racing under green, I mean, I'm kind of just, I'm locked in on the screen.
I got a fun one, Malik, given where we're going to. Talladega, big fun, big place to party. So how would you do Talladega if you're going there in person? How would you do a Talladega weekend? And would you be unfortunate as to have anything in the Left Behind social media thread on Monday?
I would just go in the suites. I've never been in the suites. I know every track has suites. If they got suites up there, I'm trying to sit in them. I was in them at Red Lobster. No. I was in them at Richmond, I think, and they had all types of seafood up there. And I'm a big fan of seafood myself, so any suite that has seafood, I'm all for it.
I love how you're so locked in on the seafood that we have Richmond Raceway or Red Lobster Raceway now, maybe, perhaps something like that.
Well, because they had Red Lobster up there. They had, all I know is it was just unlimited seafood, and I was all for it.
A favorite type of seafood? Any particular favorites before we let you rock?
I say shrimp. I like scallops. I love crab legs and crawfish. And crawfish. Yeah. I like it all, man.
That's a very South Carolina answer.
Oh, no, the Crossfish sales are undefeated. I'm with Malik on that. So, all right. So, the things you learned on the Sunoco Post-Race Report. Malik Ray, big-time seafood guy. Duly noted. Malik, thanks a bunch for coming on, and congratulations on that podium run.
All right, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
So, friendly reminder that, like Keaton said, if you are in chat on Twitch, wherever you might be watching, YouTube as well, if you've got a question for any of these drivers, you can put it in chat, and we may potentially get to it here on the Sunoco Post Race Report. Next up, how about Motorsports? Quentin Warman, rookie in the Coke Series, qualifies on pole, converts that into a 4th place finish, which at a plate track, difficult to maintain that track position. So, Quentin, how did you manage to stay up front? Because you were up there for a good chunk of the race tonight.
Honestly, just played it cool, just chilled on the bottom. Definitely got lucky with some of the yellows there at the end, but at the end of the day, just made all the right decisions to stay out of trouble and stay up front.
Justin Melillo, what sort of racing piece do you want to learn, and what do you want to know about Quentin's race?
Well, I just want to know, how does it feel to be the first rookie this season to grab a pole position? I mean, you got 8 of you guys in this field, and you were the first to bite out of anybody.
Feels great. I mean, it happened to come at a track like Talladega, which is unfortunately one of the only tracks where pole doesn't mean too much, but it is still pretty nice to get a pole. I was definitely really surprised when I qualified on pole. It's definitely pretty nice, but unfortunately, it just had to come at a track where the pole just doesn't matter too much. But yeah.
Quentin, question from a collective of people coming from the Twitch chat was the extra time that you took not to make your bed today to do a little bit of extra practice worth that pole position for you, or did that come into a factor at all? Inquiring minds want to know.
Not a factor. I never make my bed. Never. Unless it's like freshly washed, I never make it.
I'm writing that down right now. Maybe I'll find some more pole positions this week in officials.
How about the obvious one here? Just look into the background. I see a number 18 back there. I take it big-time Kyle Busch guy from the get-go, I would think?
Oh, yeah. I've been a fan of him since I was a little boy because I like seeing the M&M car on track. So it's just stuck.
So big time. Are you big time M&M fan too? Do you pair it well with a Coca-Cola, perhaps?
Yeah, it's a pretty good combo. You should try it sometime if you haven't already.
That actually does sound pretty tasty, honestly. So our question of the day here. We know how crazy Talladega could get if you get down on the infield and camp there, party there. So how would your Talladega experience go? How would you draw it up and go about it? And do you feel like you'd be at risk for having anything caught in the left behind thread that they do on Mondays?
Honestly, I have zero idea because I haven't been to a NASCAR race in 6 years. But honestly, I'd probably just chill. Just watch the race and probably do nothing else. Maybe hang out with possible friends that could be in the track. But there isn't really anything else I can think of.
Any place that like you'd want to be watching the race from? Like, would you want to be tri-oval or backstretch or in the infield in one of the corners? Or
for me, I would always want to be watching at the start-finish line, so I know what the finish is like. But I mean, I'd be fine with sitting anywhere, but I would prefer on the start-finish line for sure.
Also, a question from our producer, Cisco, who is a certified big-time Chicago guy at TM, and you being an Illinoisan yourself, wants to know, are you big-time Chicago sports guy? Are you a lover of Chicago sports teams, or do you have teams from elsewhere that you cheer for?
Well, I actually have zero favorite teams from Chicago, and there's really only 2 sports that I really watch. I like the Steelers in the NFL, and just I don't really care much for basketball, but I do watch it sometimes. And just because my dad likes them, I just like the Celtics.
Our producer says he's very hyped about the draft since it's in Green Bay, and he's big time Packers dude. Keenan, what are you thinking here? I know you always have like some crazy idea. I want to hear your crazy idea here.
Man, I just heard football. I'm waiting to talk to. You're talking to the Canadian here, man. We got 3 downs. I don't know what's going on.
You're football too.
Yeah, it's similar, but not quite the same. More specific to Quentin, we have a mutual friend, as it turns out. His name's Ian Fisher. It's your team manager for Hayek Motorsports. First things first, it's less of a question, more of a statement. Just says he's proud of you for the pole position today, and obviously the good teamwork and going into the spring break here. I think that's probably a good way to ride it out. But how are you enjoying spending your time here at Hayek Motorsports for your first year in the Coke Series?
It's great. Really good group of guys to work with. They're all involved with like all the social media aspects of stuff. And this is just a personal thing for me, but I find it really cool that I'm on a team that also has a real life NASCAR team. So that's pretty cool. I like that a lot.
So yeah, I mean, like, you know what? This is all you, James. You got this.
No. Roll on. Your question.
So again, not a lot of drivers get that opportunity. So that means a lot to you. What kind of relationship that you have with the NASCAR side of the team, and what do you experience as a esports driver having that relationship with a team that is existing in the sport?
Honestly, as of right now, there's not really much I can say on that, but it definitely, like I said earlier, it is pretty cool to even like remotely be involved with that, even if it is on iRacing and not in real life. But yeah, it's still pretty cool to me. It's honestly, before I was in Coke, it was a dream of mine to be on a team that was a NASCAR team. So yeah, it's very cool.
Neat stuff for the rookie Quinton Warman. One of his best run of the year. Qualifies on pole, finishes fourth, gets it done for Hyatt Motorsports. Quinton, congratulations on the top 5. Nice work tonight.
Thank you, guys.
Quinton Warman comes home fourth. The next driver that we'll chat to on the Sunoco post-race report, brought it home third, backs up his win from a year ago and had a good run after his boss, Travis Pastrana, was on the broadcast earlier. How about Halifax, Nova Scotia's Dylan Duval? So Dylan, being that close at the end, how do you look at this? Is it, are you sad that you didn't necessarily get the run to go up there and fight for the win? Or are you thrilled that you're back in the mix again, getting top 5s and pumping out good results at Talladega year in, year out?
Yeah, honestly, for me, I'm kind of thrilled about the result. Obviously, like, we come in here, we want to defend the win. Like, that's obviously the goal, right? But if you could tell me coming into any plate race that, like, I could sign up, finish third, like, that's a damn good day, if you ask me. So, yeah, no, definitely excited about it. It was kind of a struggle for our Channel 199 Racecraft Toyota tonight. We really did everything we could to make it as difficult on ourselves as possible. I picked the wrong line about 4 different times. We also decided we were going to overfuel the car and then lose the draft on the green flag stop. And obviously we're in a wreck as well. So yeah, definitely a difficult night, but obviously thrilled with coming home third, like I said.
Question from the Twitch chat again, a reminder for those who are listening, ask questions to the drivers. You may know who this is, Dylan. MLG Light in Twitch chat saying, what kind of slushie are you making post-race?
We might make a mango slushie tonight. We'll see. But I will not be sending one to him. No, but I will not be sending one to MLG Light because he is the one who decided to overfuel me. So no slushies for him.
What do you got? What do you got in the house? Like, if we're coming over, what are you making to impress the team here? What do we got? What flavors we got on deck?
Honestly, we don't have a whole lot. We have some alcohol in the fridge that some people might enjoy. I personally don't partake, but yeah, I can make some alcoholic slushies for people. Have a few different juices and stuff like that. Nothing too fancy. We're not too bougie over here.
I mean, I gotta ask. I got your shack with this too. You're Canadian. We're both Canadians up here. NHL week playoffs starting this week. Who do we got, man?
All right, so this is where I might lose my this is where I might lose my Canadian card because personally, I do not like hockey. So you might be barking up the wrong tree here.
Never been to a Mooseheads game, really?
I have been to a Mooseheads game, and hockey in person is all right. It's a pretty good time, but yeah, I'm not into it enough to actually follow what's going on with like the professional stuff.
You know what? I appreciate your honesty, but I, however, am beside myself. Justin Belittle, anything for Mr. Duval?
I want to bring it back to the racing just for a second. Dylan, you're pretty good at winning team championships. You've done it before, right? You'd probably be happy to know that Channel 199 Sim Racing is up in first now after 6 weeks of racing. You guys have beaten Inspire Motorsports by 4 points, you and Zach Novak, your teammate. So I guess, what does that mean to you? And do you think you can hold that for the rest of the season with the remaining 12 races?
Yeah, I absolutely think we can. When we first set this thing up this year, we realized we had the opportunity to get Zach in the other car, and the first thing I said was, we can legitimately win the team championship this year if we make this happen. And obviously everything worked out to where we got Zach, and he's been incredible this year. It's great to have someone who's been running so well as my teammate. I've been fortunate in the past to have teammates like that as well. So it's definitely more to it than just me, obviously. But yeah, no, for sure, it means everything. Try to bring that home for the guys. That was a big thing for me when I was with Stuart Haas. Was winning that team championship for them actually meant a lot to me. So same deal with these guys. Want to bring it home for them and make everyone proud. And yeah, I feel like we're well on our way to doing that this year.
All right, Dylan, we've got a question from former Coke Series driver Blake Reynolds, who wants to know, what game are you booting up once you get off here and you're done with your Coke stuff this evening?
Honestly, tonight, I probably won't play anything. I'll go back and watch a few of the streams and maybe VOD review mine a little bit. But tomorrow, I might fire up the new Elder Scrolls Oblivion that just came out, the remaster. That looks pretty good. Downloaded that before the race tonight, so
I heard that was doing numbers today.
Lilo in our chat, all caps. Yes, so you have a friend.
Right. Okay. I actually, this might be a slightly selfish question, but only because I'm about to be in the market for one. I see you've got a good 124 diecast display set up. Who made it? Where did you get that? You know, how can people that are interested in such a thing procure one for themselves?
I honestly hate to answer this question like this, but I honestly have no idea. I bought that thing at a local sporting store probably 15 years ago now or so. So honestly, I wish I could help, but I really have no clue how you get one of those right now. I'd say Amazon's a good place to look, but other than that, I'm just kind of guessing, to be honest with you.
Fair. And our last question for you. We've been asking driver this all night. How would you want to take in a Talladega race? We've heard all the stories. There's so much fun to be had in the infield. So many great spots you can watch from the stands. So how would you do Talladega? And would you potentially have something that you'd leave behind at the track and end up seeing in the left behind thread that they do on the Mondays after each race?
Honestly, I've never been to Talladega. Definitely something I would like to do at some point. But when I went to Bristol a few years ago with the Stuart Haas guys, it was pretty cool. We got to hang out in the infield and do a bunch of stuff with the team. So definitely, if there was like some way to get passes to go partake in some of that type of stuff, it would definitely be really cool to do that. But yeah, man. I mean, Talladega is just about having fun, really. Like everything you see about it just seems like a big party. So basically, just go party, have fun, and enjoy hopefully a good race.
I like that thought. I like that game plan. Dylan Duvall for Channel 199 Sim Racing P3 this evening. Dylan, congrats on that podium finish. Nice work tonight.
Appreciate it.
and joy of Nova Scotia.
From Halifax to practically the other side of North America we go, just about all the way to Fresno, California. That's where you'll find Bobby Zelensky for ERA Gaming, who gets the job done, got the win. Bobby, how did that last lap play out from your perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I went from the bottom to the top, back to the bottom. I went down to the bottom in front of Chris, and I felt good about that. They all wrecked behind us, and I saw like Daniel got a run, went up top, and coming into the trioval, I've seen some people. People could say whatever they want. I'm not going to get upset about it, but I think a lot of people thought I just like killed Daniel and Chris on going in the trioval, and that's just not what happened. I just went way too high in trying to block Daniel's run, which is a mistake that I got away with. And Daniel left a little bit of space to Chris and just hit my left rear and went through my left rear. Like sometimes that happens on iRacing. It's hard to do perfect internet stuff. And it just instantly hooked me left, and like I was turning right that whole time, and somehow didn't hit the pit wall or overcorrect. But yeah, like I did screw up. Like I probably should have lost. Like if Daniel was just a little bit lower, he wouldn't hit my left rear, and I would have been like 7th or something. So I got away with a mistake. So that's another reason to be lucky. But yeah, I mean, I wasn't trying to kill everybody. Like the finale, a lot of people are upset about. Fine, it's fine. I tried to do a bump and run for a bunch of money. You can call me dirty. It was, if you're hitting some other car on purpose, it's a dirty move. But this was just like a weird racing deal that once I got hit, I just kept my foot in it and tried not to wreck. And unfortunately, like I took out him. He went back to 9th. And the worst part is Chris Hill went to like 17th, and we were working together there, and that sucked. So if I just would have had a little bit more talent in my blood there, I would have not had to win in such ugly fashion, but it's fine. It's all racing, it gets people talking, but I'm just happy to win. I can't act like I'm so sorry. I mean, I'll take the win every day. I'm not some great, nice guy. I'm a racer, so.
We'll take it away from racing just for a second before we unleash Justin Melillo on you. We got a month now, basically. What's on the schedule for Bobby Z for the next 30 days?
I've kind of already been on a little bit of vacation the last 2 weeks because, you can't really do a ton of preparation for a fixed Talladega race, other than just a few of my guys like Chris Hill. We just did a little bit of draft practice. I've been playing a lot of Marvel Rivals with Chris Hill, which I haven't been too into games that much in recent years, but I'm nerding that hard, and it's been fun to play with him. It's fun to play with CJ and Seth the Merchant on there. So probably do a bit more of that. But to be honest, it's 4 weeks to Charlotte, but then it's a triple dang header. What are we doing? Why do we do a triple header? It'd be fun. Charlotte, Nashville, Kansas. So I think maybe for a half a week or a week at most, we'll just be chilling and hanging out with friends and doing whatever. But we got to get 3 races. It's back to back to back. We got to actually get a jump start on these races. So it looks like a nice little break, but the break was kind of like the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, as our lovely producer would like to correct you, it is 6 races in 7 weeks, so it'll be pretty busy
even
when
better.
you get there. Yeah. Who we maining in Marvel, man? What's the team comp looking like?
So, I am playing a ton of Thing and Hulk, which Hulk I just learned a few days ago. The funnest thing. I'm playing him every time he doesn't get banned because it's just so fun to play as Hulk. And if I can't play one of those, I'll probably just play healer. I'm not very good at DPS, whereas Chris Hill is a god at Star-Lord. So yeah, that game's fun. It's just fun. I haven't had that much fun playing the game in a while. And Merch will play Iron Man, so yeah, it's I don't know. I have fun playing games again, I guess.
I have to bring it back into the realm of racing again. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'm sorry about it, but they can call you whatever they want.
Fun.
Listen. We're here. We're going to talk about a little bit of racing, and we got to talk about our winner tonight, Bobby Zelensky. They can call you whatever they want, but they got to call you winner. And you are one of only 2 drivers now that have multiple wins at Talladega, joining Nick Ottinger, who did it a couple of years ago. But if history proves itself to be correct the way that it always does with you in particular, you're going to be 9 for 9 going into the playoffs. You've made the playoffs every single year that we've had this playoff thing. I don't understand how you can manage this every year. How is this possible that you have a perfect playoff record through every single season that it's been around?
I guess something's got to balance out me going to the finale 6 times and not getting the damn job done. But I just, the road courses obviously helped a lot because I was able to find an advantage right away and be the quickest guy or be one of the quickest guys and be able to just win a lot of road course races. So that helped that a lot. But even years where I didn't win a road course race, like this year might be one of them. I won a plate race or an oval race. So I think you just keep at it. And I'm pretty passionate about racing. Trust me, growing up, I wish I was in the Cup Series right now, but wasn't in the cars for me for medical reasons and money reasons, whatever, right? So this is my passion. This is what I do, and I care about it. It's a lot of fun, and I just stay committed to having the standard of I have to win races, I have to compete for championships, and ultimately these wins in every season are just the stepping stone to just compete for a championship, right? It's the win is great and it's awesome to win a race, but it's the way to get in the playoffs or way to get in contention for a championship and hopefully get the damn job done one of these years. So I don't know, you got to have luck too. I was obviously you get lucky anytime you win a plate race. Usually something has to go your way. So I've had the right amount of luck on my side too, I guess.
Bobby, we've been asking everybody this. I'm going to tweak it a little bit because I think we'll have some fun with this. So, Talladega, has their left behind thread each Monday after the race weekends where they find various objects in the infield and take photos. So we've seen couches and beds and grills and things of that nature. So if you were an object in that left behind thread, what would you be and why?
What? I have no idea how to answer. What object would I want to be? Let's keep it PG. I don't know, man.
Scares me.
Like a potato. I don't know. I'm a potato. I'm a couch potato. I'll be a potato, man. I'll be a potato. I don't know how to answer that question, brother.
Mr. Potato Head? You could be Mr. Potato Head.
What's a good, the people that are like, dirty driver, what am I, a dirty sock? Like, I don't know, like, what's some self-degrading stuff? I'll be that.
Yeah. Whatever they come
we're
up
having
with,
fun.
right?
We're having fun.
At this point in the Sunoco post-race report, I think that goes. Keenan, what are you thinking?
I think that was the saddest answer we've got, because I just picture like those couches that they get on Craigslist that just get left there, all sad. Like, we could do. Come on, brother. I'm gonna Amazon Prime you a hug. I think that's my plan for the next month that we have.
I'm good, brother. I've never better. I'm very happy we won this race tonight. This made my damn season.
So Bobby Zielinski, feeling good with the friends, with the win. Life's in a good spot. So, Bobby, thanks as always for coming on, and congratulations. Nice work.
Yep. Got to shout out all my teammates again. Fairlife Core Power for coming on. Made a great decision coming onto this team, I'll tell you what.
Got them in victory lane, got them that airtime. So I think, Keenan, he's probably on to something. One more driver this evening. And it's a driver that we've seen in the mix before. How about the work for Team Dillon Esports' Wyatt Tinsley, who was not scheduled to run this race, and then all of a sudden he jumps in and comes away with 16th at the end of all this. So, Justin Miller, how about you lead this one?
Hey, Wyatt, glad to see you back in this field. How did everything go down over the last 2 weeks to get you into this car? Like, did you get a phone call? Did you get, like, a couple text messages? Like, how did you end up in this car tonight?
I got an email from Tiad. I gotta thank Blaze. Blaze definitely was definitely the GOAT there. He put all our names up there. I mean, we were all kind of in an equal shot there, all four of the NFR, like, fill-in drivers, so I gotta really thank him. And DRS unfortunately got suspended the last race, so we're just keeping the seat warm for a Talladega race. But all in all, the race, I enjoyed it. I had led some laps. I had a lot of fun. I feel like just getting back in the car was, just pretty much nothing. I mean, we're just back up there working with everyone, just trying not to cause too many issues. And then just, I just didn't have track position after the pit stop. I kind of got lost the pack. I don't know the draft model, kind of goofy, but I just kind of lost the draft there a little bit, and we got the caution, and then we were kind of just mouthed back there, and it was just everyone was just taking right rear, so just 3x3, it was just so hard to go through the front. But all in all, I definitely enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun being back at the fill-in driver. Definitely one of the best tracks to do it. Big setup, don't have to put any practice in. Just show up and race and have a lot of fun. But yeah, all in all, enjoyed the race quite a bit, and I appreciate for them allowing me to fill in.
As always, we are taking questions for Wyatt Tinsley in the Twitch chat. If you got something interesting, funny, or whatever comes up the top of your head, please let us know. We saw Houston and Blake Reynolds in the chat when Dylan was with us. Bobby gave a shout out to his teammates at the end of us talking to him. Wyatt, I know you're only here for a week, but how important are these technical alliances, especially at super speedways like these?
Very, when it kind of like goes fuel mileage in a way, like especially like how the green flag pit stop went. Like I feel like definitely we were all trying to work together in NFR as a whole, and we just kind of like unfortunately timed it differently and bad. So like we all kind of got like mixed up, and then I ended up pitting too late and then lost the draft. So it definitely comes in a beneficial way in some scenarios, but definitely this package, it's not really much when we were all kind of grouped up in a way and we're all equal. But most of the time it does help. Like I think the Gen 6, if we were running the Gen 6, I feel like that definitely would have came in better with like better, like having teammates like that. But we were all just kind of working together. I mean, I was working with Parker the whole time, and then my spotter Ben White. I mean, he was definitely like, definitely really helpful, like calling checkups and stuff. So we were definitely all just in a line there and just helping each other as best we could.
I mean, you've had a lot of success on super speedways. We talked to Malik a little about it, but what works for you on super speeds, whether Daytona, Talladega, Atlanta? What jives here with you?
I honestly really love Daytona more than Talladega, just because I feel like Daytona's a little bit more predictable than Talladega. Like, I feel like I could predict more of a run in at Daytona rather than Talladega, just because it's, of course, Talladega is more wider than anything. I do like the new Atlanta. The new Atlanta is really fun as well. Sometimes it's like kind of in the middle there. Like, my top three would definitely probably be like Daytona, Atlanta, then Talladega. But all in all, I mean, it's all plate racing. It's all kind of like just predictable, trying to time runs. Just, I feel like I was up there in the mix at the start of the race. It's just one of those things where I just got mired back in traffic and just couldn't get back up there.
And I got one. This is kind of an easy question to answer for you, so we'll narrow the scope a little bit. Jack Mace from Twitch chat asking, I would assume you're obviously, the question is, would you like to run more races this season? I would assume the answer is yes. If you have to pick one more to come back for, is there anything on the schedule that jumps out at you?
Obviously, the answer would be yes. I would love to run as many races as I can. I feel like I get in the car, I feel like I still will be able to be there. Honestly, prefer, like, if I had to pick a track, I gotta look at the schedule. Maybe Dover. I mean, any track that's probably easy, I don't gotta put in a lot of practice for it, because, but yeah, like Prisha said in chat, he's next in line, and any other track, I'd definitely go with one of my NFR teammates. I feel like everyone equally deserves a chance to get a shot, depending on circumstances, any of my NFR teammates. I feel like if you put Frisch in the car, I feel like you push Brian in the car. I feel like if you put Zwack in the car, I feel like they all three could easily win or be up front in a fill-in role. So all in all, I feel like I'd love to, yes. And if the opportunity comes this way, I definitely would say yes, and I'll definitely show up and hopefully be a contender.
James, I think that was a very diplomatic answer, don't you? Very covering all of his bases, making sure nobody's sending him an angry Discord DM in the next 10 minutes.
100% a diplomatic answer. That's why we're going to ask him a question that completely throws him a curveball. Our question of the day, Wyatt. I bet you've seen these. So, you know, we're going to Talladega this weekend in Real Life Cup. You know, they've got their Left Behind thread that they do on social media every year where they go into the infield and they find, like, chairs and
wheelbarrows,
portables, tents, wheelbarrows, that sort of thing. So, if you were an object in the Left Behind thread, what would you be and why?
I'd say maybe like a tire, I guess. Just kind of roll me around. I mean, sitting in a tire would be kind of something to be kind of fun. I don't know, maybe like flint and steel or something. That'd be kind of cool.
Oh
maybe maybe a chicken jockey.
Stop it! I know what you're doing, and I don't like it.
Oh my goodness! So
he's even wearing the shirt too. I'm upset.
Valid. So is that how you'd want to get around the infield at Talladega? Would you like crawl into a tire and then just have somebody push you around?
I guess. I mean, maybe throw like an ender pearl. I don't know, something along the lines of that. But yeah, I don't know. That's kind of an interesting question. I think feeling just the wheelbarrow videos and interviews stuff I see is just quite nice. But Talladega is definitely a place to be, and I think I will be at Talladega at the end of this year. So I definitely hopefully get the experience with that. So a lot of fun.
I got one more. I'm not going to take responsibility for this, and you can't make me. This is from one of our production staff members, Cisco Scaramuza. How many times have you seen the Minecraft movie yet?
Okay, I haven't actually seen it. That's the funny part. I actually honestly have not seen it. That is completely 100% honest. I've not seen it yet. It's just funny memeing all the memes and stuff. I feel bad because I did once work in a movie theater, so I do feel bad for all the people that have to clean up all the popcorn from those memes. But sometimes it's just funny to point and laugh. But it's just, yeah. I hope the movie's good. I'm just gonna wait till it comes on like on demand or something. Then watch it. I don't got time spending money at the movie theater nowadays. Too expensive.
Also had a job at the movie theater, and I'm assuming that we can relate on that. We've both seen some things, capital T. Do you have one memory, obviously we are on the air, of what something you found and left behind in the movie theater that you're like, didn't know you needed that for a film?
Like, what do you mean? Like left behind, like an item left behind?
Yeah, like an item or a mess, a particular mess. Like, again, I can probably think of like 4 off the top of my head, but you are on camera. We are on the air.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like just the normal stuff. People just leave it behind, like AirPods and like, I mean, obviously you can't take them. They just got to turn them in. But like, I feel like the best. I feel like if they just leave no mess, I feel like that's the best. You just go in and sweep, and it's but AirPods and some other stuff. But I mean, I feel like AirPods probably. I honestly, to be honest, I've seen someone leave an iPad before, and I'm like, how do you leave your iPad? But all in all, yeah, I feel like the iPad is the only thing I've really majorly seen. I only worked there for a couple months.
Brother, for your sanity, I hope that's where that stays. Maybe people who go see movies up here are just a little bit more rabid, but that is like a C tier answer. But yeah, no, that it could be a heck of a lot worse.
I'm just trying to process the fact that people would leave behind iPads and that he knows the chicken jockey meme and hasn't even seen the movie. I don't know whether or not we need to stick the chicken jockey on to fix that. But in either case, we'll leave that for later. Wyatt, congratulations on a great run tonight.
I appreciate it, and I would like to give a big thanks to Parker and Ben. And I want to give a big apology to Tyler Gary. I did get into him like when the major crash happened into one there, and I kind of made him lose some sauce. I think he was going to get like a top 20, like a top 12 or something like that. So I just want to apologize to him. I mean, obviously I'm a fill-in driver, so I probably shouldn't be causing, but I didn't cause any cautions. So we're keeping the streak alive where a fill-in driver doesn't cause caution. So hopefully maybe Frisch will throw one in there if you fill in. But all in all, I appreciate everyone allowing me to race, and hopefully we'll be back eventually.
Wyatt Tinsley filled in for T-Dog Taylor Hurst tonight and gets a solid run out of it, finishes 16. All right. Justin, we need a little bit of sanity back in the Sunoco post-race report, so we're going to come back to planet Earth and look at the driver standings here, updated now with a familiar name, with the win that it just seems like everywhere. You don't necessarily know where he's going to get it, but you know that Bobby Z is going to, and tonight it was Bobby Z's night.
Yeah, he's pretty much locked in for the playoffs as long as he can stay above the top 20. He has enough points, and we don't get more than 10 winners. But I mean, Steven Wilson up there, 3 wins. You kind of expect him to maybe get a couple more as well before the end of the regular season as well. I'm really excited to see Dylan Alt still up there in the top 10. He's having a great year, and a lot of hungry names outside the top 10, such as Vicente Salas, Donovan Strauss, Daniel Falkingham. We'll probably hear more from them as well throughout the rest of the regular season and the rest of the year.
And I think the other big point, because Steven Wilson's got 3 wins, that makes it a lot easier to lock in if you get a win and stay in top 20. And that might make wins all the more valuable because you've got room to fight for them if you're everybody else. A little bit of a break for the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series before we go racing one more time. But it is Charlotte Motor Speedway, Tuesday, May 20th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on eNASCAR.com/live, and all sorts of fun that we are going to have at America's Home for Racing the Tuesday before the Coca-Cola 600 and the day before. NIS opens up for you to take your crack at that race. For our entire production team at iRacing, our producer Drew Adamson and company, and for all the broadcast team tonight, for Ryan Vargas, Alan Cavana, Evan Pusoko, Keenan Goosen, and Justin Malillo, I am James Pike. This has been the Sunoco post-race report. Congratulations to ERA Sports' Bobby Zelensky on winning tonight's race at Talladega. We will see you on Tuesday, May 20th from Charlotte Motor Speedway.